One will go for goal. What a start for Sheffield Wednesday. Humphreys is the Hartlepool hero.
Martin Scott took charge of Hartlepool on May the 4th. 3 days later, he guided them into the playoffs. 25 days later, his players are facing by far the biggest game in their 97-year history. They clinched their playoff spot on the last day of the season, and they won their semi-final on penalties. Paul Sturrock took over Sheffield Wednesday in September, their 8th manager in 8 years. They were languishing in 14th place when he took over. Now they have an opportunity to claw back some of the respect they lost in their dramatic fall from grace. The 5th and final year of the playoffs in Cardiff. They're due to be back at Wembley next year, and the farewell will be colourful. Hartlepool are bringing 1/5 of the town with them. There's never been a bigger crowd assembled to watch them. They've never played outside the bottom 2 divisions in their history. Sheffield Wednesday are bringing more fans than anyone else to a playoff final in Cardiff. Around 40,000 tickets sold to watch Paul Sturrock's team. Astonishing that they've been on a starvation diet for 5 years. For the right to play in the Championship next season. The League One playoff final, Hartlepool United against Sheffield Wednesday. It's football democracy in action. There's nothing equal about Hartlepool United and Sheffield Wednesday, but they're on the same pitch this afternoon, playing for the same prize. With me, a trio of experts, or should that be 2 experts and Chris Kamara? No, Cammy, good to see you again, as of yesterday. And Mike Newell, of course, took Luton up as champions this year and a former Hartlepool manager. And Mark McGee, on this day last year, took Brighton up in the playoffs. What was that experience like for you, Mark?
Well, it's right up there with any football experience I've ever had, whether it be playing in a cup final or European football. It was extraordinary, you know, and you got a flavour of that coming out of the hotel today, and you see the supporters today from both teams enjoying the same day as we did. It is a fantastic day.
Not great form coming into the final for both teams, Mike, is there really? I mean, they're both reversed into the playoffs, if you like. Does that matter now?
Not at all, no. The form doesn't count for anything today, and anything can happen. You know, we've seen that over the years. It's a massive game for Sheffield Wednesday. I think Hartlepool will be delighted to be here, and yet I think they could win it.
And Cammy, neither manager in charge at the start of the season. What kind of job have they both done?
They've done fantastic jobs. You look at Southampton now, where they are. Paul Sturrock obviously didn't get the best opportunity at that place. He probably feels he can justify, you know, Sheffield Wednesday's faith in him by getting promotion today. And Martin Scott, I mean, what a wonderful story that would be. Neil Cooper did such a great job. I feel for him today because this is his team out there doing the business, but Martin's in charge, and Martin will be hoping that caretaker becomes #1, and if he wins it today, that's a certainty.
OK, players out on the pitch. Let's hear from one of them. Richie Humphreys, of course, former Sheffield Wednesday and now Hartlepool.
Richie, born in Sheffield, you still live in Sheffield, you used to play for Sheffield Wednesday. It's going to be an odd day for you, isn't it?
Not particularly. To come here with Hartlepool United, with this set of players who are not only teammates, they're very good friends, you can't top that. It's just a special occasion. Obviously, you guys will put the link to it because I'm from Sheffield and it's my former club, but to play anybody here is a special occasion.
Have you got some mates here in the ground who will be hoping you lose today?
I've got a few who hope I'll do OK and we'll lose. They're on the other end, but I've got plenty of friends and family supporting Hartlepool, and they've come to to join in with the Poolies today.
Good luck today, Richie.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Thanks, Richie.
There's mixed feelings about Sheffield Wednesday, Mark, isn't there? Because they shouldn't really be here, should they? They're a bigger club than this, but they've got to start somewhere. Yeah,
and it's probably in many ways a bigger game, therefore, for them, you know, than Hartlepool in the sense of the size of the club, because, you know, for us that are now in the Championship already, you know, it's in a totally selfish way. In a sense, we're sitting here, I don't know, Mike will tell you what he thinks, but we're sitting thinking, hoping in the sense that Sheffield Wednesday don't come up, because they are going to be a massive threat to the likes of us in a Championship division.
If Hartlepool come up, obviously you're going to beat them, yeah?
Well, I don't say that, but I mean the potential that you're seeing here today
I know exactly
with Sheffield Wednesday, you know, perceptions would be that Sheffield Wednesday would be a much stronger team in the Championship than Hartlepool possibly have the resources to become. So, I mean, they're a massive danger to us, Sheffield Wednesday, if they do come up, because of the size of club that they are.
Sheffield Wednesday's captain is Lee Bullen. He could be playing his last game for the club because he's out of contract. He's on the pitch now.
Lee, as you well know, this football club's known some lean times in recent years. How much does a day like this mean to these supporters?
This is the biggest game the supporters have had for maybe 10 years now. Fantastic day out for them, and a massive, massive opportunity for us as players and these guys as fans to be involved in a club in the Championship.
Is there a danger with everyone talking about Wednesday must do it, it's a foregone conclusion they will? Is there a danger of not being able to focus on this game?
Not at all, not from a player's point of view. It's totally focused. You're right, there's a lot of euphoria about the place, and people are starting to maybe get one step in front of themselves. They forget there's 11 Hartlepool players out there wanting to do their best to be in the Championship next year. So the players are focused properly. The manager's made sure of that, and now we just want to get the game started.
Thanks for your time.
Pleasure, thank you.
OK, big game for all these players. Who's playing? Who's on the bench? Greg Whelan has all the news. Greg.
George, thanks very much. Well, the big news from Sheffield Wednesday's point of view is that their top scorer, Steve MacLean, he's not played since getting a foot injury way back in early March. He is on the substitutes bench. That's the big surprise from Wednesday's point of view. Now, from Hartlepool's point of view, it's interesting because they've gone with exactly the same starting lineup that beat Sheffield Wednesday in the league 3-0 last month. So Martin Scott's made two changes from the side that came through their semi-final second leg at Tranmere. Into midfield comes number 32, Thomas Butler, with Ivan Williams making way. And up front, there's a recall for Joel Porter, wearing 14, whose last start for United was in that 3-0 win against Wednesday. On target with his first senior hat-trick that night was Porter's strike partner, Adam Boyd, wearing number 10. He's the man in form at the moment. 8 goals in his last 10 games here, giving him a total of 29 for the season. Only Thierry Henry finished with more. One of the names to look out for is number 8, Richie Humphries. He played more than 80 games, of course, for Wednesday back in their Premiership days. Now, he's also the man who hit the winning penalty in their semi-final shootout at Prenton Park. So Paul Sturrock makes one change to the starting lineup that faced Brentford in the semi-final second leg. That's Chris Brunt, whose goal at Griffin Park helped to get Wednesday through to this final, comes in on the left-hand side in place of the injured Matt Hamshaw. In goal is David Lucas. He was a playoff finalist here with Preston in 2001. And at left-back is Paul Heckingbottom. He played in Darlington's playoff defeat to Peterborough at Wembley the year before.
Thanks, Greg. MacLean on the bench then. Mike, your Luton team played them both, obviously, this season. Did the double over Hartlepool and drew twice against Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, does that say to you it should be Sheffield Wednesday winning today?
Not necessarily. Hartlepool played particularly well at our place in the first half, and it could have been anything, really. We managed to beat them. Second half, up there, we murdered them, to be quite honest. But Sheffield Wednesday, when Paul Sturrock took over, he got them organised and very difficult to beat. When we played them just after Christmas, it could have gone either way. We were quite happy, to be quite honest. We were quite happy with the draw.
OK, perhaps it's quite easy to support the Arsenals, the Manchester Uniteds and the Chelseas of this world. But if you support Hartlepool, you have to be born in Hartlepool, like someone we know very well.
Welcome to Hartlepool. It's not all like that, by the way. This is the pearl of the Northeast Riviera. Some days. It's a town of around 90,000 people. Geographically, Newcastle's up there, Middlesbrough's down there, Darlington, down there, of course. It has its famous sons, like any town this size. Ridley Scott, the film director, Reg Smythe, creator of the cartoon character Andy Capp, and Coronation Street's Des Barnes, Phil Middlemas. Of course, it's not just any old town, because this is home. Now, I'm a monkey hanger. I'm proud of it. During the Napoleonic Wars, a French ship ran aground on these rocks, and a monkey was washed ashore. The good people of Hartlepool had never seen a Frenchman before. This was before the days of TV, after all. And this was certainly no David Ginola. So they did the only thing they could. They gave him a fair trial and hung him as a spy. Still, the monkey's spirit lives on in the club mascot, Angus the monkey. Well, for one man, monkey business became mayoral business. Hi, Stuart.
Hi,
nice
Jeff.
to see you.
You too.
You stood as mayor as Angus the monkey.
That's right.
How big a surprise was it when you got elected?
It was a massive surprise. In the beginning, I just stood for a bit of a joke, a bit of publicity for the football club. I didn't expect to win at all, but you know, it captured the public's imagination, and it just snowballed really. And it was a big shock when I did get elected.
Hartlepool's pride and joy, aside from the football team that is the historic Kia Marina. We're on board the HMS Trincomalee. It's the oldest British fighting ship still afloat. Coincidentally, Hartlepool's centre half is called Nelson. We're all hoping he can help blow Sheffield Wednesday out of the water today. Here in Hartlepool, we were brought up on mother's milk and Cameron's ales. The brewery's been here for more than 150 years. Coincidentally, Strongarm was born 50 years ago on the same day that I was. Hopefully, we'll be toasting Hartlepool's success over Sheffield Wednesday with a glass or two of this stuff a little later this evening. Good luck, boys. Hartlepool against Leeds in the Championship, eh? What would Brian Clough have made of that? His first managerial job, of course, was here at Victoria Park. It's the stuff that every kid in Hartlepool grows up dreaming about. Me, I'm just a big kid. And like everybody else in this fantastic town, it's what I'm dreaming of this weekend.
Good stuff. Jeff is here, by the way, but he's having lunch with the chairman of Hartlepool, so good to have connections, Cammy, isn't it?
No, absolutely, yeah. I mean, we all know how much Jeff loves Hartlepool, and what, you know, if I wanted my heart to rule my head because he's one of my best pals, I'd want Hartlepool, but I've got to stay neutral.
Of course you have, and you're off now to do some interviews for us again with the managers.
Well.
Yeah. So, on your way then.
Yes, I will. I'm on my way, George. Thank you.
It is really a fantastic day for Hartlepool today. Never in their history have they experienced any of this. 300 miles they've had to drive, left at about 4 o'clock this morning. Biggest day in their history. And they believe they can go back as winners.
I've supported these team, man and boy, for 46 years, and I've just lived for this.
It's just the ultimate experience. It's the furthest we've ever got in the history. It's a special day for all the fans. It's just wonderful.
We brought roughly a fifth of our population here, which the support's phenomenal.
50 years I've been in support and nothing. Just marvellous.
Everyone's either talking about it or trying to get here. It's fantastic. The support that the town's giving is absolutely great.
97 years to get here, and watch us all sing this place down. We will enjoy ourselves, and that's all it's about, enjoying ourselves. Come on the pool!
Fifth year in Cardiff. Should be the final year. Should be back at the new Wembley next year. But look at this, fantastic here, isn't it? They've done us proud in the playoffs and other games as well, of course, in Cardiff. Really great to be here. All blue and white stripes, of course, but Hartlepool will be changing into red shirts for the actual game. So it's the new Wembley then next year. But we've been looking back at some classic finals of the past, and we're going back now to 1999 at the old Wembley Stadium. And it shook when Gillingham played Manchester City.
Oh, it was unbelievable. Absolute classic, and one I'll never forget. It was just a very emotional day for everybody involved at the football club.
I remember the week before, I was just talking about playing at Wembley, and even though I'm Scottish, it's every boyhood's dream to play at Wembley, and you sort of want to score there.
Talbot playing it on to Smith. Taylor's at the edge of the area, but he's worked it through. It's Carlos over, and it's a goal in the last 10 minutes of the contest.
Carlos Talbot, great finish, and we sort of in dreamland really. I just couldn't believe that we were winning, and there was only sort of 9 minutes to go.
Carlos Talbot, a goal scorer, and it's Taylor he's put through this time. Taylor, 2-0. Gillingham are surely there now, making history in the process.
I think the team spirit we had that season and the amount of late goals we had scored probably made us kick on a little bit.
And Gota's through here, great challenge, but the follow-up shot is in, and Manchester City have given themselves some late hope here through the goal from Horlock. Well, it's not over till the final whistle, and City here looking for an opening. It's Dickoff again! Can you believe it? And from 2-0 down, Manchester City have drawn it level.
The game really in extra time just faded away a little bit because I think both teams were so tired. And then it obviously went to penalties.
It's Horlock against Vince Bartram, and City are 1-up. Paul Smith, who takes Gillingham's first spot kick, and it's saved by Weaver.
I was that confident I was going to score, and the way it happened was a bit bizarre, you know, hitting both posts and then the ball coming back out.
And it hit the post and stayed out. Can Adrian Pennock now draw Gillingham level? Oh, he's missed! If Edgehill could score here, that really would put the pressure on Gillingham's next taker. And he does! If Clive Butters misses this penalty, Manchester City will be in the First Division next season. Gillingham will stay in Division 2. He has missed it! Manchester City are up! It's Manchester City who are the Second Division playoff winners of 1999.
Yes, these are single games which do change history, and both these men know all about that. Mike, when you scored the winning goal for Blackburn Rovers to take them into the Premiership, penalty, wasn't it, against Leicester City? Single goal, single game, changes history.
It does, yeah. It's the whole season depends on it, but it's not just the whole season. It's the future season and seasons. And we were saying before, Mark was saying, you never know what could happen with a club like Sheffield Wednesday. They get up this season, they could go on, and it shapes the whole next 10 years and whatever. It was big for us because it was the start of the Premier League, Blackburn, and you never know what might have happened if we hadn't got in there, yeah.
And how important was it for Brighton to go up when you went up last year, Mark?
Well, if you remember all the sort of politics that surrounded us as well, and still does, about the new stadium, then for us it wasn't just about, as a manager and as players, wanting to play against Leeds United and all the big clubs that we do in the Championship. It was also about making a statement about the football club itself, and this was a huge opportunity for us to say to Mr Prescott, look, with 30,000 people here, we deserve a stadium, So for us there was massive issues as well as just the promotion, and as Mike says, for other clubs there are other reasons, and for Sheffield Wednesday it's because the 40-odd thousand that are coming here today believe they should be in the Premiership.
Yeah, Hartlepool are doing all they can to stop them. Hartlepool are quite solid all the way through their team, of course, but there's one or two players with that extra bit of quality.
You had around about 4 years at Sheffield Wednesday. Can you just, talk us through a few of your happy memories from Hillsborough?
I think they did very well before when I was an apprentice, and even before that, in the '93 Cup finals, they got to both Cup finals. The first season that I played the majority of my games in, I think we finished about 8th or something like that and just missed out in Europe.
What sort of season has this been like for Hartlepool, and what's it been like to be involved in this promotion campaign, as it may well turn out to be?
Yeah, it's been great. I think the lads have done excellent again. It's been a bit strange the last few years because we seem to be up here every year. So I think it's a bit surreal. If the lads moved on, I think we'd probably struggle a bit if you finish in mid-table.
Was that a big help at Tranmere, because the last few playoff seasons have been disappointing, they haven't quite gone your way?
Yeah, you know, to go to all, it showed great strength from the lads. They done really well, digged in, so we picked up a little bit as well in extra time, and I think we got our just desserts with the penalties.
What was that like watching that?
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking. I think it was worse watching than it would have been actually taking one.
I can't imagine there's many worse experiences than missing an important penalty. I mean, you're not the only guy that's happened to him, and there's dozens of players that people have had to suffer that. I mean, how did you use that experience that you'd suffered, as you said before, missing the penalty, when it came to the big one this time?
Well, I never volunteered to take one, that's for sure. But you've got to be prepared to take one, because you know, everyone will have to at some point if it keeps going through sudden death and it goes through the team. I was in a situation where the lad had missed just before I went up, so I knew that if I stuck it away, you know, it would put us through.
Did that make things easier, because you knew it wouldn't be the be-all and end-all if you did miss it?
Well, I didn't want to miss another one. You know, it could have done. He did go the right way. He even got a hand on it, the keeper. But luckily enough, you know, the penalty went in.
And what sort of game are you anticipating?
It's a cup final, so it's going to be tense. It's going to be tight. So you never know. But you know, over the 90 minutes or even extra time, you know, we'll obviously be doing our best to get promoted.
5 years ago, it had never been thought of, and most people would have took staying actually in the Football League. And if we could actually reach this championship, you know, it'd be a dream come true for the full town.
29 goals for Adam Boyd this season. Only Thierry Henry has scored more. How did you find him, Mike, when you came up against him close up this season?
Oh, good player, good player. They play through him, and he's not just a goal scorer. He links the play up, and he's a proper centre forward. He's got everything really. Deceptive pace, you know, because he moves the ball well, and finishing quality in both feet. He's a good player.
Talk about changing history, Mark. If Boston could have afforded £5,000, he'd have gone to Boston and things would have been so different. But he does score good goals. He's got lovely feet, hasn't he? Yeah, well, the 2 goals he scored in the Tranmere game at Hartlepool were terrific. The second goal was, you know, come back on his left foot, a great finish. But, you know, what Mike said is important as well, is that he's the one that helps them play. He's the one that makes them play. He links the play, gives them time to develop from midfield, to get people ahead of him and around him, and you know, gives you a chance to play football. I've not seen a terrible amount of him, you know, but the few games I have seen him, I've been impressed with his all-round game. Shifts the ball very well. Would he have the pace to go higher, do you think, Mike?
As I said, he's got deceptive pace, and he moves the ball well, and he doesn't give players a chance, defenders a chance to nick it off him. I don't know how high he can go. I certainly think he can play higher than this level.
Of course, in April, Hartlepool 3, Sheffield Wednesday 0, Adam Boyd hat-trick. So he's got that in his belt, hasn't he, in his armoury?
Yeah, and you have teams that you have good games against, and you score goals against, and other teams you know you can never get a goal. It's but that'll be in his mind. You know, he'll be looking forward to playing against Sheffield Wednesday.
I'm sure Martin Scott remembers that as well. Martin Scott, his 4th game in charge of Hartlepool. Cammy's down now, talking to him, Martin Scott.
Thank you, George. It's an incredible stat, though, isn't it? Your 4th game and you're in a final.
Can't believe it, Chris, to be honest with you, but no, it's a great occasion for them people there. But I've said to the lads before we came out, we've got a job to do. We've got to be totally focused on what we're here for, and that's to try and get the club into the Championship.
Well, managers do weird and wonderful things. You've picked a team that beat Sheffield Wednesday 3-0. Was that the reason for it?
Obviously, we had a great performance against them sort of on a Friday night, but no, I just felt the players who were obviously brought back, Joel Porter and Tommy Butler, outstanding ability, and I think with the size of the pitch here, especially Thomas Butler, he can get the ball and obviously try and have a run at their defenders. But no, every single player in the club, Chris, has done excellent for his club. Yes, I've made a few changes, but I think the players on the bench will be important today.
Adam Boyd, is he the key to your performance?
Yes, if he performs, we've got a great chance. 29 goals, outstanding talent, he needs to perform.
Any dangers from the side?
Yeah, well, Sheffield Wednesday, a good team, deserve to be in the playoffs, well organised. This will be a tough game.
Thank you very much, Martin.
Cheers, Chris.
Back to you, George.
Thanks a lot, Cammy. Mark, have you heard of a more amazing story than that, taking over, you know, 3 days before the end of the season and now playing his 4th game?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think he's been there, of course. He's not come in cold from somewhere else. He's been at the club, he knows the players, he knows how they've been working all season, he knows how it's developed. I think, you know, Neil Cooper's departure was a huge surprise to everyone in the game, and I'm sure it was a big surprise to the players. But you know, keeping Martin there has given them that continuity.
And if they go up for the first time in their history to that level, Mike, an amazing achievement.
They can't lose. I honestly think they can't lose. If they've had a great day here, if it goes wrong, they've magnificent achievement to get here, and everything else is a bonus, and I think that might just work in their favour.
OK, that's Hartlepool. We'll talk about Sheffield Wednesday coming up, and for 10 years they certainly slept. They were comatose, I suppose, for that length of time, but they're on the verge of waking up, that's for sure. They've been champions of England 4 times, they've won the FA Cup 3 times, but they've been up the creek without a paddle for the last 10 years. We'll be with the current Wednesday players in a moment. Mind you, the scenes here today are absolutely incredible. Sheffield Wednesday in particular, absolutely balmy. Their fans have gone. Around 40,000 of them come down here to watch this game, desperate for some kind of success. Just a monster club. Unbelievable. Anyone who knows their football history knows that Sheffield Wednesday are part of the fabric of the game. But you know, highs can soon become lows.
Oh, brilliant goal! Chris Waddle at his absolutely dazzling best.
In these parts, they treasure the memories.
David Hurst puts Sheffield Wednesday ahead.
The last time Wednesday were a real force in the game.
For 3 seasons, we were amongst the best in the country. You know, we were up there competing, you know, with Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, and a very good Leeds team in that at that period.
3 Wembley finals in as many years and a season in Europe. Heady days. They thought there'd be more.
All the boys and the manager probably thought, you know, well, next season's coming up. We'll give it a go then, and surely we'll come back with some silverware then.
But within 2 years, Trevor Francis had gone. His team had begun to disintegrate.
Personally, I think the surgery was done a little bit too early. I think you could have got another 18 months, 2 years out that side, because most of the players who moved on went on and played for another 2, 3, 4 seasons at a good level.
5 games into the season, David Pleat's side were top of the Premiership. But that was as good as it got for the manager. A year later, he was shown the door.
David came in and tinkered with the team that, I mean, I'm not the man to tell him how to do his job, but, you know, he got rid of a lot of players in a short space of time, and inevitably the performances went with them.
There may be trouble. Danny Wilson hoped big-name players could satisfy his hunger for success. His big names brought him even bigger headaches.
Nice players on the day, but very much individuals, one-team players for me. Could excite the crowd, no discipline about them, and you always knew they were going to get funny results.
Relegation loomed large. Wilson paid the price. Dropping out of the Premiership was a bitter pill to swallow.
I was devastated at the time. You know, it wasn't a happy time in my footballing career to see a club that I'd spent so much time and so much great times with get relegated and know that they weren't coming back up next season.
Paul Jewell is the new manager at Sheffield Wednesday. He's joined
His appointment brought hope of an upturn in fortunes. But hope would turn to despair as the scale of the club's financial plight hit home. Unable to make an impact, he lasted 8 months.
Everything about the club was wrong. Results were wrong. Finances were wrong. You know, changing, I think, 5 managers in 3 years is wrong.
10 years after their last trip to Wembley, Wednesday slid into what is now League One. Supporters were voting with their feet.
There's been some absolute garbage served up over the last 10 years at Hillsborough, especially in the last few years. You know, the team has steadily deteriorated.
I want to be around to pick up the pieces.
Paul Sturrock's arrival this season has been hailed as a turning point.
To be honest, he's done a very good job. He's organised them. Seems to have a good spirit about the team. They don't play the sort of team we played. You know, it's not as entertaining. But a lot of people say, who cares, as long as you get out of that division.
They got into the playoffs. Now promotion is 90 minutes away.
Is this the start of the comeback for this famous club?
It's one small step, but a giant leap for Sheffield Wednesday.
It's a great opportunity for Sheffield Wednesday, to get back, to where, not where they should be, but to start making, progress to where they should be, because where they should be is in that Premiership.
What a day for Sheffield Wednesday, and what a day for Paul Sturrock as well. Incredible, he could be playing Southampton next season, couldn't he? And Cammy knows all about that. He's pitchside now with Paul Sturrock.
Thank you, George. Paul, I've got to talk to you about the disruption to your team plans today, because one of the lads, Matthew Hamshaw, failed a fitness test.
Yeah, we're obviously very disappointed for him. He was gutted about it, but he played very well in the semis. But we brought Brunt in, who came on in the game for him when he went off, and I'm sure he'll do a good job.
And is everybody ready? You're planning and all that, the way that you're going to go about it against Hartlepool?
The problem has been obviously a long time between the Brentford games and this game, and you got to watch you don't overtrain them. But I think we're okay. MacLean comes back on the bench, which will be a wee bonus if we can use him later in the game.
John Paul McGovern's been playing exceptional for you of late.
Well, different class. The laddie last year was a bit player at Livingston. And this year he's come and played 50 games here. He's been an excellent signing.
You see Adam Boyd as a big threat from Hartlepool?
Well, he scored a hat-trick. I'm sure he's loads of confidence, but I'm confident my back four will handle him.
Well, I don't want to remind you of this, because you told me earlier about your record in finals.
Yeah, I'm not the best. 7 finals, 7 defeats, but hey, it's got to change sometime.
Absolutely. Good luck. Thank you, Paul.
Good to see him smiling, isn't it? What a record that is in cup finals, by the way. Mark, Paul won't talk about Southampton now. It's kind of erased from his memory in many ways. But it was a horrible experience for the man, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think he's right. I think he should erase it from his memory, because I think he bears no responsibility for anything that's happened there. I think it was just one of these difficult situations that just didn't work out, and I think he's proven here, as he did at Plymouth, what a good manager he is. So it's a blip that he can put behind him, and it's a big day for Paul as well, Paul to be back in the Championship next year, and not only where he left Plymouth, but probably, as you say, absolutely playing against Southampton if they get up.
And Mike, they say players should never lose confidence, but surely managers need to also have that in their mind as well. When they get knockbacks, you shouldn't lose faith in your own ability, which obviously Paul never has.
Definitely, he didn't get any time at Southampton. That was clear, and for whatever the reason, we don't know. But he's moved on, and you have to move on. I had a similar situation myself at Hartlepool. You just forget about it, don't bear any grudges, and on you go. And you can't concentrate on your job if you're thinking about what happened in the past.
Well, not many household names in the Sheffield Wednesday team for Paul Sturrock to manage, but he has his own unique style of management, and those players are out to make a splash today.
It's called a fun day, but you're doubting that at the moment, aren't you?
I think there's 22 guys up there that are doubting that at the moment. It's come back to me in about 15, 20 minutes, and I'll shout over to you and let you know if it's a fun day or not.
What were your feelings when you saw them all go out?
Well, they were all up for it, and saying that was the important thing. They seem to have had a laugh so far, and they've enjoyed it, so we'll see what they're like when they come back in.
I suppose there is a serious side to this. It's sort of a good bonding exercise, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's all really what we're looking for, a bit of fun.
How are you looking forward to this match?
Yeah.
Happy days, mate.
Well, hopefully we'll get the right result, but it's the biggest game in most of our careers, so just want to put in a good performance on the day. Hopefully that'll take care of itself.
What will it mean for Sheffield Wednesday to get promoted?
Oh, it's massive. I think when you look around the club and look at the facilities and the fan base, it's destined to play in the top leagues, and hopefully it'll be a good day for us all.
Have you thought about scoring the winning goal?
Yeah, I've thought about it all the time. Whoever scores a goal, just as long as we win, the club need it, the players need it, the fans need it. It just the whole like half of Sheffield's just dying for it.
Lee, you look exhausted.
Just said that. The manager's not a stupid man. That's a double training session we've had today, and one afternoon session. Unbelievable. It'll be interesting to see how the arms are feeling tomorrow anyway. good fun, good bit of banter, and I think a few of them were sceptical at first, but I think majority of the lads had a bit of fun and really enjoyed it.
Do you sense how important promotion is to the club?
It's very important. I mean, all I heard about when I first come down is how disappointed the fans have been over the last 5 to 10 years, whatever. So obviously that's the pressures that are there, but now we've given ourselves and the fans a great opportunity of getting this promotion. We know it's obviously going to be very difficult, but everybody's really looking forward to it.
Lee Bullen, how difficult it is for him to play today, maybe, knowing it could be his last game for the club, Mark? No contract on the table as yet.
No contract on the table, you know, but he's got guys like Mike and myself sitting here watching the game, and a whole host of other managers in the stadium and on TV, and he can sell himself today. If he's not going to have a contract there next year, then he'll be looking for another club. So he's got a big opportunity still for himself and a lot to play for.
33 years old, but he does score goals as well, doesn't he? He's got 7 so far this season. Only Stephen MacLean, as we've seen, is on the bench, has scored more goals than Lee Bullen this season. Lee Peacock should be scoring the goals, shouldn't he, for him? I mean, he's the out-and-out striker. What kind of player is he, Mark?
I mean, at Bristol, you know, I think a lot of people quite fancied taking him. I at the time was a bit surprised that when he moved, he didn't move to the division higher. I thought he was moving because Bristol City hadn't got promoted. I think he is a good player. I think he's got a lot to his game, particularly in this division. You know, a player like him can be very effective.
He's got ability, hasn't he, Mike? And he does score goals. He was top scorer last season for Bristol City.
Yeah, he's got ability. I think he's had a bad injury early on in the season, and he's struggled to get back to peak form. But he's a player that gives it everything, and as a centre forward, they're the sorts of players that you like in your side. You know, they'll run the channels. He'll compete for everything in the air, and as you see there, he's got goals in him. He can finish.
Stephen MacLean, after a break, you know, hasn't played a game, and he's on the bench suddenly. How tempted would Paul Sturrock be to, at some stage, throw him on, do you think?
Sorry.
It depends how the game's going, George. Obviously he's not fully fit, and it'd be nice to have a player like that on the bench to call on.
But you go with what you've got and what you've had in the last few weeks, really, don't you, at the start?
Yeah, I think so. But I think there were two aspects of the boy being on the bench. One is that if the situation arises, a bit of desperation, they throw him on, knowing that he's not 100% fit. But also from the other lads' point of view, they know he's one of their top players. They know his ability, and they'll be glad to see him sitting there if they need him to bring him on. OK, the match building up very nicely indeed. This is the League One playoff final for the right to play in the Championship next season, with Mike Newell's Luton and also against Mark McGee's Brighton. It's a big day for both of them. You wonder if it's a bigger day for Sheffield Wednesday because, well, is all the pressure on them? Is it just a day out for those monkey hangers? We've been asking the fans.
We were nervous in the semi-final, and we've been nervous for the last few weeks. So it just depends on if someone makes a mistake.
We're going to win. It's no problem. It's easy. Come on!
Be a tight game. I think there may be one goal in it. Hopefully McGovern will do the business.
These will go up next year because they're not a bad club. But we're going to do it today.
We'd like to say thanks to Cardiff. What a place. Never again. But we're here this year. 4-0.
17,000 Geordies will out-sing these lads, no problem.
3-0, Paul.
Come on, Boyley, lad. Come on.
2 years' time, we'll be back in Premiership. Paul Sturrock is going to be a king and a legend at Hillsborough.
One will go for goal. What a start for Sheffield Wednesday. Humphreys is the Hartlepool hero.
The League One playoff final from Cardiff for the right to play in the Championship next season. Hartlepool against Sheffield Wednesday, live from the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff. And the place is humming at the moment. Tremendous. Both sets of supporters doing proud, but Sheffield Wednesday have probably brought about twice as many as Hartlepool. Which way will it go? Doesn't mean anything, of course, the size of the support. It's on the pitch where it matters. We'll get the views of Mike Newell and Mark McGee at half-time after the first 45 minutes of the action. But they are bouncing here in Cardiff, waiting for this one. Should be a bit of a special game as well. Let's join our commentators, Gary Birtles and Rob Hawthorne.
Brand new experiences for both. Sheffield Wednesday and Hartlepool taking place in a playoff final for the first time. Neither have been at the Millennium Stadium before either. Sheffield Wednesday coming out of the dressing room that Southend found to be lucky yesterday. Hartlepool hoping that that is not an omen. Two clubs with very different backgrounds, but with a shared aim of success and of reaching the championship today. Over 40,000 have made the trip from the Steel City. And the Hartlepool fans, supported by 3 times their normal average gate. But the contrast could hardly be more stark. Sheffield Wednesday, 4 times champions of England, 70 years of top-flight experience. There as recently as 5 years ago. Whereas Hartlepool, on 14 occasions, forced to beg for re-election. They've only ever won 3 promotions in their entire history, and they have never, ever before played above this level. The players just want to get the match started, but there are formalities to be observed. Julia Golden from the league sponsors, Coca-Cola, and Sir Brian Mawhinney, the chairman of the Football League. First of all, going down the Sheffield Wednesday line, the young mascot there is Edward Goodison, whose parents paid over £2,500 in an auction on the website for the privilege. Richard Wood relieved to be part of this occasion. Craig Rocastle, Chris Brunt, who's the one change to the team from the semi-finals, James Quinn, whose future with the club is uncertain, Glenn Whelan, Paul Heckingbottom, who once had a spell on loan with today's opponents Hartlepool, Alex Bruce, the goalkeeper, David Lucas, one of 2 players in the Wednesday lineup who've been in a playoff final before. And that was here at the Millennium Stadium as well with Preston. The smoke from the pre-match fireworks cleared away as long-serving Hartlepool captain Mickey Barron takes the guests of honour down the Hartlepool line. Their young mascot is Kenneth Hogcroft, the son of the club's chairman. And the club's backers have paid £500 to charity for the privilege of his being the mascot here today. Michael Nelson, a towering figure at the back in the semi-finals. Joel Porter, who didn't take part in those last 4 games against Tranmere. Young Anthony Sweeney, who's had an outstanding season. Adam Boyd. And then down along the line of substitutes, which include the experienced Mark Tinkler. But these Hartlepool fans, I'm sure, can barely believe that they are here today. The club has had an undistinguished history. It's their first ever playoff final. First ever playoff final as well for Sheffield Wednesday, although they've had cup finals in the past. But it's been a long fall from grace, and they're hoping today will mark the turning point. Now the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama will give us the rendition of the national anthem.
Hartlepool start with a 4-4-2 at centre-half. Nelson and Westwood complement each other very well. Nelson, no nonsense. Westwood reads the game well. Left back, Robson loves to get forward and eye for a goal. And led by example by Barron at right back. In midfield, Sweeney and Strachan, tenacious battlers, box-to-box players. Width, experience from Humphreys and Butler, who loves racing at defenders. And up front, the prolific Boyd, decent movement alongside Porter. Hard-working, unselfish, decent first touch. Sheffield Wednesday will also start 4-4-2, led at centre-half by the athletic Bullen, alongside the imposing man marker of Wood. Heckingbottom loves going forward, good composure, as is Bruce at right back. McGovern on the right, old-style winger, terrific delivery, and in the centre of midfield, creativity, work well in tandem, Rocastle and Whelan, and Brunt, a wide range of passing in midfield for them, and up front, two intelligent centre-forwards in Quinn and Peacock, who hold up play well, and good leaders of the line.
Well, what an incredible job the two managers have done. Martin Scott only 4 games into his reign, and Paul Sturrock, whose side were 14th when he took over. Richie Humphreys, Sheffield-born, a United fan who ended up playing at Hillsborough, scored 3 goals in the first 4 games of the 96-97 season, which had Wednesday on top of the Premiership. Success today, and he could be facing 2 of those opponents, Leeds and Leicester, again next season. It's Hartlepool in the change strip. Well, how ironic would it be if in the season of Brian Clough's passing, the club where he launched his managerial career should attain new heights at the expense of his last club, the one he led to 2 European Cup triumphs, Nottingham Forest. It's Gavin Strachan. And now Matt Robson. And this is Thomas Butler. First intervention from Glenn Whelan.
That's what you want early on as a player. Get your first tackle right, first header, the first pass. Very important to settle the nerves.
There's criticism of the pitch that it was too slow yesterday. Butler has just lost his footing on it.
Well, I watched the game yesterday. I couldn't believe how many times the ball got stuck between players' legs. It didn't run. They were passing the ball. It wasn't quite getting to the intended man. So they have watered it. Let's hope there's a little bit more zip on it.
An atmosphere of great intensity, and Sheffield Wednesday have to bear the burden of that expectation. Headed by Richard Wood. Strachan with the miss kick. That's Brunt. Now Chris Westwood. Whelan, helped on by Rocastle. And Westwood just beat Lee Peacock to the punch. Heckingbottom unable to keep it in. Richard Wood, who scored a goal against Hartlepool in a draw when the two met in the League Cup last season, a game that ended on penalties with Hartlepool winning. Both of these teams hoping it doesn't get that far today. By Porter, now Barron. It's Lee Peacock who came in. Peacock, one of the players who disappointed Hartlepool last year. He was part of the Bristol City team that knocked them out in the playoff semi-finals. Although Peacock didn't see that game through to its conclusion, he got injured before the end. Bullen has come forward from the back for the free kick here. And it's Heckingbottom who aims it forward in his direction. Bullen, who could be playing his last game for Sheffield Wednesday today. There's talk that he may return north of the border.
You wouldn't want to lose him. He's been magnificent for them this season, a great leader.
Heckingbottom's throw. Bullen, having looked disinterested, suddenly became interested again. 33, the oldest member of this Sheffield Wednesday side, the oldest player on the pitch.
He certainly doesn't play like it, that is a fact. It's interesting you mentioned Peacock and Quinn. The pressure a little bit on them two now that MacLean's back on the bench, I think was a surprise to everybody. Nobody thought he'd got a chance of appearing in any shape or form in this final.
It's Nelson. Now Butler. Important tackle from Whelan. Westwood wasn't found wanting in terms of pace there against Quinn and managed to steer it enough to safety, and Quinn's conceded the free kick.
Well, the assistant was very close to that, Quinn, saying he's not touched him. We'll see here, good battle in midfield there, good tackling. Westwood falls asleep a little bit, has to sprint at the end, and here we see Quinn just chasing it down. I'm not so sure there was much contact there.
Bullen's header.
Didn't these two qualify in different circumstances? Hartlepool, rearguard action, unbelievable at Tranmere. More or less battered for 90 minutes, but still had the resilience to come through on penalties. And Sheffield Wednesday, not the form team going in against Brentford, performed heroically in both ties.
Wood. Away by Bruce, that's Nelson. Kept in by Matty Robson. Boyd's won it. And it's Heckingbottom who emerges with it for Sheffield Wednesday. Now McGovern, hero of the first leg of the semi-final. John Paul McGovern. Back to Whelan. Now Brunt. Couldn't find the ball that Peacock needed. Wood. Now Rocastle. Neatly sidestepped Gavin Strachan. Tried to line it up for Whelan. That was an important tackle, but it's been at some cost to Butler. He really has hurt himself in making it. This is Boyd. Well, both clubs here have injury problems because it was a committed challenge on Whelan by Thomas Butler, but both are hurt.
At last the ball's put out of play. They've both been down a while. It doesn't look good at all. Full-blooded challenge, just what you'd expect in something so important. Terrific timing there, nothing wrong with it at all. It's hurt both of them, and you do worry for the pair.
Thomas Butler, the other surprise selection by Martin Scott today. He didn't figure in either of the legs of the semi-final against Tranmere. But Whelan, his opposite number, has already put in a couple of important early tackles.
Just what you'd expect in the semi-final games. He was terrific for them. No, neither of the managers want to lose key players early in this game.
Fellow Irishman, Butler on the right there, has actually played for the full Irish senior side. Whelan, the under-21 captain. Thankfully, any damage that has been done has been repaired sufficiently for them to return.
That's good to see. Early indications of the pitch, though. I've been looking at a couple of incidents where there's been a couple of runs, and it still doesn't seem to be getting away from the players' feet. They're trying to. It seems to be holding up. And if they say the water did it, they should have got the fire brigade to do it, because it doesn't seem to have made much difference.
Well, it's something that's been a constant talking point at the Millennium Stadium, the state of this surface.
You may think that's fully the fire brigade, but Derby County did that many years ago when Forest played them. They got the fire brigade on the pitch to make it in their advantage.
Here's Robson.
Expect the first 10 minutes of the game of this significance to be nervy, a bit frenetic. Everybody wants to settle down, and that's how it's going so far.
Well, nothing to choose between them really in the league, just a point and a place, the difference. Sheffield Wednesday finishing the higher of these two clubs. And it was 2 home wins in the league meetings. You also have to take account of nerves on occasions like this. The approach of both clubs has been very different. Sheffield Wednesday haven't been to the stadium as a group until today, whereas Hartlepool came here to have a look around on Friday and actually came for the first half of yesterday's playoff final.
And that's good strategy as well, because I walked out when the teams walked out, and you heard the shouts and the noise level in this stadium, and it makes the hairs on the back of your neck go up. It was tremendous.
Here's Butler. Rocastle just shields it from him and ushers him out of the way. McGovern trying to unleash Peacock, but Nelson in control. Well closed down though by Rocastle. He's made something of it. He's looked for James Quinn. And they'll take a corner out of that.
Well, he looks second favourite to get there, Rocastle, but made it his own. Put the pressure on Nelson.
Wood with a header back. Strachan got to it. Here's Porter. Sheffield Wednesday plenty over, but Boyd looking to link up with Porter.
So there again you see, he tried to play the right ball, and the grass, just for me, held it up.
Westwood. Barron. Here's Porter. Joel Porter, the supporters' player of the year. First start since the league victory over Sheffield Wednesday at Victoria Park last month, when his strike partner Adam Boyd stole the plaudits with a hat-trick. Barron looking for Boyd. Here's Nelson. Sweeney made the run through the middle. Rocastle. Closed down by Strachan. Bullen. The arm, it's a quick free kick that's been taken by Quinn. Shortage of support for Whelan, but he's pulled it back in there, looking for Peacock.
Well, intelligent play by Quinn initially there, took a quick free kick. Spotted the possibilities, puts it down, look, spots the run. And again, it just holds up nicely, but there he's screaming for help here, but he picks him out. Peacock just gets ahead on, couldn't get enough on to direct it goalwards.
Sheffield Wednesday have switched their wide men over. John Paul McGovern has moved to the left, Brunt to the right. Quinn, now Whelan. Bruce. Away by Westwood. Glenn Whelan. Quinn. And Whelan goes on.
Well, what a good chance. And again, the pitch playing little tricks on defenders. Tenacious battling again. Headed back in, goes for the 1-2. Whelan, look at him. Gets in there, gets his look, and look at the ball, just holds up. Maybe he could have done better than that. See it hold up for him, he's brave, gets his look, just puts too much on it.
Quinn seeking out Brunt, and he's onto it! Chris Brunt!
Well, crying out for a hero, he could have been one there. Chris Brunt Again, it's Quinn's vision that makes it all possible. One touch, the defender slips, he takes too much time, tries to pass it in, and the keeper makes a comfortable save. He had too much time there, Brunt, too many ideas going through his mind. Do I hit it hard, do I hit it low, do I try and curl it round him? In the end, he was in the middle of two things.
20 years old, Brunt, the former Rangers junior, who's further ahead of Bruce here. On the ball again now, Chris Brunt. Looking for Whelan. Quinn. Whelan. Do Brunt any favours with the ball, but Butler has just bought Hartlepool a bit more time.
Again, though, it's the weight of the pass that's the important thing. On a normal pitch, that would have got there, but that, you just saw it slowed up and didn't give the player a chance.
Nelson with a header clear. Bullen and Rocastle almost in each other's way. Sweeney trying to get Boyd through here. Heckingbottom with a header. This is Porter. Humphreys. Away by Bullen. Barron. Humphreys. Now Strachan. Back by Sweeney. Bullen is there to clear. Westwood.
Very competitive out there, as you'd expect in a match of this importance. Good midfield battle going on. They get the bragging rights early in this game.
It's Butler's header out.
Keep mentioning the pitch, and I think it is playing a few tricks out there. And it's compare it like it's like the municipal golf course, and you want it to be like Augusta, National, and for the Masters. You know, you want that sort of pace, not the slowness we've got on it at the moment.
Quinn away by Westwood. It's Brunt. Peacock takes a stab at it. Westwood got himself in the way. And it came off Robson in the end. It's a corner.
Well, they're giving Brunt a lot of space out on that right flank. They've got to cut that down, stop the supply to him. McGovern's not really got into the game as he'd like to, but Brunt had a lot of the ball.
It's Brunt who delivers. Peacock climbs with a header. Good control by Quinn. Now Brunt, is he going to have a go?
Well, he thought he'd get his own back, but didn't quite, unfortunately, on the previous chance.
Well, wouldn't it be a remarkable story if the man considered not good enough by Southampton should end up in the same division as them next year? Certainly his team seem to have settled the quicker here. They've switched back again. McGovern's on the right. Brunt has come over to this side, but it's Bruce who's making the progress here. Well, if he'd pull that back for James Quinn, then Wednesday could have been in.
Well, again, he gets a lot of time, a lot of space. Just the final ball let him down.
In by McGovern this time. Peacock's underneath it. Again, good control from Quinn. Digs it out for Rocastle to hit.
Well, again, we've seen one from Brunt now, one from Rocastle. Again, it's got something to do with the pitch. You can't put all the blame on that. We see it coming here. Peacock wins it well. Great touch by Quinn again. Great awareness. Just teases it backwards. And again, it's just dragged across and bobbles. Can't get any purchase on it.
Craig Rocastle, the nephew of the late David Rocastle, player who was released by Chelsea earlier this season. Here's Brunt. Now Rocastle. Bruce. Aim for Lee Peacock. And it's Nelson away. Heckingbottom. Westwood. Played against Rocastle by Joel Porter.
Just can't get into any rhythm at the moment, Hartlepool. Sheffield Wednesday well organised, 2 banks of 4. Closed down very quickly.
Humphreys. Wood keeping a tight hold on Porter. There's Boyd. Now Strachan. Humphreys. Playing it into open space. Peacock wanted the direction switch to McGovern.
I can understand Brunt's frustration there. He wants somebody to run into the channel. That's the ball that strikers like running onto, but it was one that was pretty direct that was wanted in the end.
Boyd hasn't had too much of a chance to shine on the big stage so far. Rally was the deciding factor in the first leg of the semi-final. Got his first goal from a long throw-in. Humphreys might eventually aim for him from this. Poor throw though, cleared by Peacock. Barron. Now Boyd. Kevin Strachan. This is Nelson. Robson. Now Butler. McGovern gets back just to hold up Matty Robson. It's Butler's cross.
Well, that's disappointing. The first time they've got into a decent area to deliver good quality and straight into the keeper's arms.
Westwood. Strachan. Here's Lee Peacock. McGovern. Well, maybe he needed too much time in the end.
Yeah, and that's what's lacking a bit from both sides, that quality, that final ball in the final third that needs to be better. We know he can do it, we know he can deliver. McGovern.
Almost bears the name of a Hartlepool legend. Of course, John McGovern started his career under Brian Clough at that club. But neither McGovern or Clough reached the heights that this Hartlepool team could if they win today. Never before have they been above the bottom 2 divisions of the English League. Richie Humphreys hoping to take them there. Joel Porter. There have been plenty of occasions already in this match when Sweeney has taken up a useful position in the box and they haven't been able to work it through to him.
Sweeney is the one man from midfield you know will get forward and join in. He's got 15 goals this season. That's a terrific return from a central midfielder.
Usually when he scores, they don't lose. In fact, he hasn't scored in a defeat since last year's playoff semi-final against Bristol City. Sweeney was the man who earned Martin Scott's Hartlepool a place in the playoffs this season. Bullen's header away. Up in there by Strachan towards Boyd.
Bank of blue and white stripes back there, protecting Lucas in goal.
Martin Scott's the first caretaker manager to lead a team into a playoff final. He may well have done enough to earn himself the job as successor to Neil Cooper already, but surely a victory today would put the seal on it.
I would think so, and people will say, well, all the hard work was done, Neil Cooper had done it all, yes, but you still have to raise the players after he's gone.
Again, it was Sweeney was the furthest player forward then for Hartlepool, just trying to unsettle Bruce and Lucas.
Just terrific when you've got a midfield player on your side who can do that, go beyond the strikers. I used to play with a lad called Steve Hodge, who was one of the best at doing it. He used to burst from nowhere, always in double figures from midfield. Takes the pressure off the strikers a wee bit.
Here's Quinn.
He's been impressive, Quinn. Starting very brightly.
Alex Bruce. Westwood away. This is Whelan. Bruce finds McGovern. No nonsense defending from Nelson.
Well, that's what they say he is, and that's what you get. That's what it says on the label. He was immense in the semi-final, though.
He's tasted pain in the playoffs before. 2 semi-final failures, one with Bury, one with Hartlepool. But he's as responsible as anyone for the fact that Hartlepool are here today. Humphreys.
Hartlepool need to get the wide men involved a little bit quicker. Humphreys and Butler. Sweeney and Strachan working well together in midfield, but can't get it wide.
Humphreys with the long throw. He's looking for Michael Nelson. Trotter took a swing at it, but he's going to break here to Gavin Strachan. Nelson trying to direct it back. Rocastle gets his toe to it ahead of Richie Humphreys. Brunt clears. Now Quinn given something to chase. Gets in front of Westwood.
Good battle between those two there. Totally committed. Quinn gets in good areas. Intelligent striker. Westwood reads the game well.
Bottom lines up the throw, looking for Peacock. Whelan.
Humphreys just did enough to put Whelan off there.
Five years he had at Sheffield Wednesday, Richie Humphreys. He's part of the team that at one stage reached 7th in the Premiership. They seem long distant days now.
It can be an influence on the game, but not seeing enough of the ball at the moment.
Here's Heckingbottom. Quinn. McGovern. Strachan. Now Robson. Boyd. A push from Lee Bullen.
He said he went for the ball, but it was a foul.
Strachan's kick picked out Butler. McGovern belatedly got to him. Well, that falls short for Robson. Quinn going to try and hold off Westwood. Westwood has stuck pretty steadfastly to his task there against Quinn, but it's not an easy contest for him.
Not at all. He's going to have to concentrate for 90 minutes the way Quinn's playing at the moment.
Quinn looks to set McGovern away.
Quinn does do well. He drops into the hole, drags defenders out, creates space behind.
Craig Rocastle. Strachan.
Does that so well, Strachan. Breaks things up in midfield. Allows Sweeney to get further forward.
Whelan. Great ball to McGovern. He's looking for Peacock! And Westwood in the end was there to help his goalkeeper out. Good near post run made by Lee Peacock, even though he couldn't convert the chance.
Terrific play by both McGovern and Peacock. Good delivery, good attack.
The chances have been limited, but Sheffield Wednesday have had slightly the better of them.
They have. They're edging the play at the moment, but until they get that breakthrough, Hartlepool will feel the job's been done so far.
Strachan to Humphreys. One to block the cross. And we're close to the half-hour mark, and Hartlepool have just won their first corner.
That's what you want to see from Humphreys, a bit of trickery, a bit of know-how, get to the byline.
The tallest strikers, Boyd and Porter, but make life uncomfortable for Lucas with their sheer presence in front of him. Nelson flew in looking for it. Cleared by McGovern. Now Robson. Back in towards Westwood. Porter had his arms on Rocastle. Free kick in. Playoff weekend builds to its climax tomorrow with Preston against West Ham United live on Sky Sports 1. Our coverage starts from 2 o'clock as those two clubs bid for the final place in the Premiership. It's the final place in the Championship that these two are competing for. Sheffield Wednesday after a 2-year absence. Hartlepool have never been there.
Impressed by the way Sheffield Wednesday started the game. The expectation levels from their mass following are huge, and I think they responded very well to it.
Here's Butler, who may be about to go off. He's been struggling since that early challenge with Glenn Whelan, and Avian Williams is poised to come on. Sad blow for Butler, a player who's only joined Hartlepool this season from Sunderland. But a proud moment for the man coming on, who is a Welshman. Avian Williams, who missed out on a call-up to the senior team with Wales because of an injury in the playoffs last season, gets his chance at the Millennium Stadium anyway, with 2/3 of the game left, and with the score still 0-0.
Well, we know about Williams. It's like for like out there. Experience, will score goals, will join in with the front two.
That's short. It's a good recovery from Wood to get across in front of Joel Porter. Interesting to see if Humphreys and Williams switch. Williams does often play on the right, but he has started on the left. A nice pack applied to the right knee of Thomas Butler. It was that challenge with Glenn Whelan earlier that forced him to go off. Robson. Barron. Barron from Humphreys. Now Strachan. Sweeney. Whelan. No foul. Richard Wood. Quinn. Peacock. And now Brunt. Some causing problems then for McGovern. Had to shield his eyes as he took that ball out of the air. Porter. More decent progress from Joel Porter. Rocastle, though, denied him. Nelson. Now Robson. Losing out in the battle to Peacock. Whelan finds Brunt. Chris Brunt has a go.
Well, he's certainly having a go this afternoon. That's his third effort. Getting closer every time. Dave Peacock does well against Robson. Patient build-up. They all sit off him, allow him to shoot. Decent strike, but doesn't keep it under the bar. Body shape just a little bit off. Just takes it over the top.
Chris Brunt, who stepped up to the Northern Ireland senior scene with his first cap back in August, seems to fancy his chances of scoring here today.
His first one was the best chance. Had a lot of time to make up his mind, and he picked the wrong option. But clearly a talent.
All the attempts have been Sheffield Wednesday's. Hartlepool yet to trouble David Lucas.
Goalkeeper, you have to feel sorry for. He's desperate for his first bit of work in a game to make his first save. We're 34 minutes in and he's not had to make one.
So Porter looking to give Wood the slip. When you feel he's had of the ball is when he's been lining up these goal kicks, David Lucas. He played for Preston here in their loss in the final of 2001 when Bolton got into the Premiership. Nelson. Porter sets off. Over the top.
Well, we see the intelligence of Porter there. Gambles on the long ball, gets in between the two defenders. See him here, gets in between the defenders, sees the keeper off his line, just doesn't bring it down quickly enough, but still intelligent running. The worst effort you'll see.
Good bit of improvisation from Joel Porter. David Lucas, who's really been very unlucky with injuries anyway, appears to have something of an injury problem here. Wednesday hope they'll be able to sort out pretty rapidly.
His hamstring's gone. I don't see him staying on. He's right getting other people to take your goal kicks for you, but you're restricted going across your line and when you're making saves. We'll see why it goes. There we see straight away the agony. He knows something's gone. And that's a big blow.
Well, will the manipulation work?
I think we saw in the Premiership, Russell Holt, as Man United got injured and then couldn't get down to save one of the goals, so it's important he gets it right. Lucas tells his manager exactly what's wrong. Does he think he can carry on?
We'll soon find out how that injury is as he lines up another clearance. Stretching David Lucas, but seems to have shrugged off the worst of it anyway.
It's getting cold out there. He's had very little to do this first half in the shade.
Here's Whelan. Sweeney put enough on it to just check his stride. Cleared by Bullen. Lee Peacock. Now McGovern. It's Alex Bruce with the cross. Brunt's header.
Trying to build up positive from Sheffield Wednesday. Just that final ball. Letting them down a little bit. But I've been so impressed with Peacock and Quinn. They've led the line so well. Their intelligence use of the runs. They're getting behind, especially Robson. That's where all the danger's coming from. Hartlepool haven't been able to close that down.
Porter wrestled to ground by Richard Wood.
Bit of backing in, bit of pushing. Surprised the referee gave that one. A bit fussy.
Williams, Sweeney, Porter, Westwood and Nelson all in the line here. Wetting ball from Strachan, but clearing header by Alex Bruce. Now Matty Robson. Tries to get the better of McGovern, who blocks the cross.
And what Hartlepool have lost now is the pace of Butler down that left-hand side. Williams not the flying machine down that flank. Humphries similar on the other side, so it's going to be difficult to get decent supply to the strikers.
It's Gavin Strachan's corner. Sweeney pulled it back. Nice move, but Boyd couldn't convert it.
But that's the best chance for me. He's not been involved very much, and maybe it showed there, Boyd. Intelligent use of the ball from Sweeney, aware, had to take it early, leading back. That is a good opportunity for a striker. You expect things like that to come your way. Maybe took the wrong foot there. Was it a left foot shot rather than a right? I think it was.
We'll normally give Boyd a sight of goal, and he comes up with the goods. He's one short of 30 for the season now. What a place it would be to reach that milestone. Here's McGovern, and Whelan's made a useful run, but Westwood was in control of that situation anyway before his goalkeeper came.
Well, good player on both sides. Whelan, Sheffield Wednesday and Sweeney for Hartlepool do that job very well, breaking beyond the strikers. They're allowed to do that because Rocastle will sit in there and help, and so will Strachan.
Barrett. Porter lets it run, gets it back from Boyd. The fact that he'd gone down meant he couldn't. The compliment returned. This is Westwood, now Humphries.
If it does stay like this till half-time, and happy a manager would be Hartlepool's without doubt, because they've been second best this first half, still 0-0.
Humphries, Boyd. It's Gavin Strachan. Robson. Wrestled out of it by John Paul McGovern. Quinn left behind neatly for McGovern, who's kept up his run. Brunt the man over to the left here. Whelan climbs here, and Quinn got in each other's way.
Well, that's a good opportunity, saying shout, tell me. Whelan's telling Peacock or Quinn there. Got in each other's way. Good opportunity missed.
Bruce's throw in. Nelson. Back by Rocastle. This is Heckingbottom. Whelan. McGovern. Bruce. Quinn just trying to drag it through for Lee Peacock. It was Westwood who cleared.
They've got a good understanding, Peacock and Quinn. quite come off that time, but if you're going to flick it, that's where to flick it, round the opponent's penalty box. Wood. Cleared by Barron. Whelan guides it through for Lee Peacock. Well, I said I'd just seen the best chance of the match at the other end with Boyd, but I think that's just edges that one out. Again, Whelan, terrific going forward from midfield. Sets off, nobody near him, sees the run, the intelligent run of Peacock. And look at, he's totally off balance when he hits that. Lovely ball, lovely run, does everything right but this bit where he's totally off balance. It's almost deja vu from yesterday a little bit. Lincoln totally dominated the first half of the match, and Sheffield Wednesday likewise.
Stakes so high, so much resting on the outcome of games like this that the first half of them does often tend to be tense, close.
The thing is, half-time, if it's 0-0, which it looks like it's going to be, Sheffield Wednesday will feel they should have had this game under control by now, and they haven't.
Played in by Strachan. Away by Wood. Humphries challenging at the edge with Westwood. Missed kick by Bullen, which could cause problems. Humphries hits it. Robson. Now Gavin Strachan finds Westwood. Strachan was pulled back as he delivered that pass. Here's Nelson. 2 minutes have been added on in the first half. By Bullen. Here's Whelan. Quinn. McGovern. Away by Westwood.
Majority of the problems for Hartlepool because Robson's getting forward too much and he's getting caught out.
Peacock looks for Rocastle. It's a good ball in there, and John Paul McGovern has scored for Sheffield Wednesday, right on the brink of half-time.
Well, I was just mentioning Paul Robson there. He got caught out again there, and Nelson's having a right go at him. But McGovern gambled, as good players do in the box. Again, an intelligent build-up from Sheffield Wednesday, a patient one again. You see here, Rocastle starts it, gets the 1-2, nobody goes with him. Just an intelligent, just a tease across there, invites somebody to attack it. McGovern obliges, lovely little 1-2. Why has nobody gone with Rocastle? That's what's cost them. Puts it in the right area, and look, caught napping at the far post. Gets in a good area, doesn't panic, just teases it back, and that's a terrific finish. It's a good gamble. And look at the manager, he's delighted. And don't they deserve it?
Fellow Scot of Paul Sturrock, John Paul McGovern scores his third goal in his last 4 matches, and what a huge goal it is as well for Sheffield Wednesday. He helped to get them here with his semi-final goal, and he's put them in the driving seat close to half-time. Boyd looking to strike back instantly, straight at the goalkeeper.
That's when you're at your most vulnerable there. Can't switch off. It's the first save of any note from Lucas. And we said if it stays 0-0, it hasn't. Hartlepool will be the happier. They're not going to be now. That's a sloppy bit of defending that's cost them at a terrible time.
A crucial goal in first half injury time has given Sheffield Wednesday their half-time lead. A neat 1-2 involving Rocastle before the setup for John Paul McGovern. And the Sheffield Wednesday fans are in orbit here. It had been tense for them before that, as chances had gone begging. Hartlepool had started to grow in confidence. but that goal might just start to make them wilt. And the Sheffield Wednesday fans reflect now with more optimism after that all-important breakthrough. It's Hartlepool 0, Sheffield Wednesday 1.
Well, they've got the breakthrough there just at the death of half-time, 46th minute, when Sheffield Wednesday finally got a goal. The views of Mike and Mark in a second or two as Sheffield Wednesday get their noses in front. This goal from John Paul McGovern. He scored a big goal in the semis, an even bigger one now. Here in the League One playoff final, Sheffield Wednesday have their noses in front right at the close of half-time. With me, Mike Newell and Mark McGee. And does that change the game an awful lot, Mark?
Well, I think it certainly does for Hartlepool. I think Sheffield are worthy of their lead. But also I think that Hartlepool saw enough when they got the ball into forward positions that Boyd, Humphreys have got a little bit about them that they can still be in the game, but I think they've got a hard job on now. Wednesday
were sharper, weren't they, Mike? But Hartlepool were defending well.
Started much the better. Sheffield Wednesday created the openings and had a few good chances. But Hartlepool, as Mark says, they're not out of it yet, and they've got players who can turn a game in an instant.
Were they sloppy at the near post and the back post, Hartlepool, when the goal goes in?
Well, first of all, you know, they play a 1-2 and the boy just follows the ball, you know, and they play it in behind, he continues his run. Somebody's got to track him, you know, the player against him's got to track him. Then I think Chris Westwood can make maybe a bit more of an effort to try and block it here. You know, as he's about to cross it, I think he should be going to ground there. And obviously Robson, you know, he needs to attack the 6-yard box to get in a little bit more and be aware of the man behind him. So there's a lot wrong from Hartlepool's point of view in losing that goal.
John Paul McGovern scoring some vital goals now. It's 3 and 4 games for him. He hasn't been prolific, but he was a goal scorer as a youngster, Mike, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, it's a great time to start scoring, isn't it, in the last month. I think Robbo be disappointed there. Didn't favour his left foot, and had he had a right foot, he might well have got across him there and get that cleared.
Lee Peacock's had a few chances, hasn't he, for Sheffield Wednesday as well?
Well, I think the key to Sheffield Wednesday is to get the ball at the strikers as often and as early as they can, and to Peacock in particular, because they were making great runs off of him as well as him having his own chances, which he's going to get. We spoke about him before the game and the danger that he presents to Hartlepool, but he's also a great target for the rest of his teammates to get off of, and he's done that well. And I think the more that Sheffield Wednesday can do that, the more success they're going to have.
None of these going in, of course, but getting closer all the time, weren't they, as we got to half-time. And just in that minute added on, they got the goal, got their nose in front. And Chris Brunt as well had a couple of chances, didn't he, Mike?
He did. He got one on his left foot, or he wanted to get it on his left foot, and he was a little bit too deliberate. Robbo slips here on the far side, lets him in. But Chris tried to get it too deliberate there, and it was in between his feet a little bit. But they did have the better opportunities, there's no doubt about that, and they would have been a little bit worried going in at half-time had it been 0-0.
But you know lots of these Hartlepool boys. Have they got the spirit to fight back?
Oh, certainly, yeah, certainly. It never ever phases them. Going behind never phases them. They keep playing the football, and that's the only way to get back into the side. They haven't got players that they can lump it up to. So if they get the ball down and they keep playing, they'll get themselves a chance.
And perhaps the best chance for Hartlepool was Adam Boyd, Mark, wasn't it? He just slices the shot, really.
Watching it, I didn't see it in the monitor. If that's a worked corner kick, then it's a brilliant little bit of play. Whether it was improvised, I don't know, but it just gets a bit close to him. I mean, he wants it a little bit more on his right or a little bit more on his left, but it kind of comes in between his feet a little unfortunate for him.
Well, you get the feeling there's a lot more left in this game yet. Certainly 45 more minutes left. That's for starters. And Hartlepool shouldn't be too downhearted. They're only a goal down, and there's a long way to go yet. But Sheffield Wednesday feel they're very close now. Very close. Paul Sturrock and Martin Scott. Who will be the victorious manager at the end of the game? Sheffield Wednesday enjoying their first ever playoff campaign, and they are enjoying it at the moment. A goal up at half-time. Hartlepool have had playoff heartbreak in year after year. This is their first trip to a final. The biggest day in their history. And there's life in them yet, that's for sure. How do you see the game going now, Mark?
Well, I think the next goal, obviously, particularly for Hartlepool, is critical. If Sheffield Wednesday get it, I think it's all over. Hartlepool need to get it, you know. I think that if Hartlepool can keep their patience though at 1-0, keep passing the ball and try and pass the ball even more, get it to Humphreys, get it to Boyd, then they still have a chance. But I think Sheffield United have made themselves out now favourites now.
And Mike, Hartlepool, can they do it? Can they come back?
Yeah, they can do it, as I said before, if they keep passing it, because that's the way they play, and it won't faze them being a goal down. It's never over till it's over, and we've seen that a few times this week.
OK, we'll hear from both guys, of course, at full time. Back now to our commentators for the second half. It's Gary Birtles and Rob Hawthorne.
And John Paul McGovern has something of a stadium landmark now, because the fact he scored the first goal today means he's got the 150th goal in all matches at the Millennium Stadium. But that's a side issue for Sheffield Wednesday. Their fans already seem to be celebrating promotion at half-time. They were on such a high at the fact the goal had come so close to the break. But the big question on their lips now will be, can Sheffield Wednesday defend their lead? Straight from the off, Whelan looks to Peacock, and it's cleared by Avian Williams. He and Richie Humphreys have switched sides at the start of the second half for Hartlepool.
Might just mix it up a little bit. There were very little joy in the first half. It's easy to say that it was a good time to score a goal. Any time's a good time to score a goal, but particularly when Hartlepool were looking to go in 0-0 and would be happy with that. That just takes the edge right off it for them, and they've now got to get that belief back into the minds to get back in this game.
Strachan. One was raised there against Glenn Whelan, and that, as much as anything else, convinced referee Phil Crossley to give the free kick. It's Heckingbottom to take. In for Peacock. Cleared by Strachan. It was Porter. Trying to set Williams away, and he's just managed to get the edge on Brunt, who's desperately trying to get back at him, and does. Williams inside, though. Cleared by Heckingbottom. Sweeney. Now Robson.
It's a bit more natural now. Humphreys and Williams have switched flanks. A bit of early encouragement from Williams there.
They've stuck McGovern right in front of Humphreys because they know the danger of his long throws here. He's looking for Porter from it. Oh, we've got a flick back! And would you believe it? They've got the equaliser, and it's Avian Williams, the Welshman in Cardiff, who's brought Hartlepool level.
Well, it's come from nowhere, the big bomb into the box that Sheffield Wednesday know all about. But they couldn't defend. I think the first touch came from Bullen. And there's a gamble at the far post by Williams. We know he's a striker. Long ball in. I think Bullen, we see, getting a touch, he does, but he gambles. And again, for the first goal in the first half, they fall asleep at the far post here. We see again, he gambles, the defender doesn't, and his hands are in his head. Head's in his hand there. We see him. Striker's instinct gets in here. Easy task of putting it in, but a lot of space, a lot of time to do it.
Avian Williams, who started the match on the bench, he must have wondered if he would get his chance in this big game. He did, because of Thomas Butler's first half injury. And he has scored the goal that brings joy to the travelling Hartlepool fans.
Paul Stroke a bit disappointed with the defending there. Long throw.
It's James Quinn. Now Brunt pulls it back for Peacock, and McGovern was closing in. Robson got a touch to it.
Good attack by Peacock at the near post yet again. Does that so well. What were we talking about, the times of goals?
And here's a chance for Boyd. Crucial intervention from Bruce.
Terrific intervention, good read of the game, good awareness, and had to be onto it very quickly there. Lovely ball weighted in there, but look at Bruce, the time is perfect. If he gets it slightly wrong, it's a penalty. He gets it perfect.
Hartlepool come back to life. And Gavin Strachan will deliver this corner for them. Cleared by the head of Heckingbottom. Robson. Robson will be as relieved as anyone that that equaliser has come.
Two carbon copy goals defensively. Going to sleep at the far post. Both the defenders, the people who gamble, get in and get the goals.
So as it turned out, it was only the half-time break that prolonged Sheffield Wednesday celebrations at their goal from John Paul McGovern. Within 2 minutes of the restart, Hartlepool level.
I was always told, expect the unexpected. You know, and both those defenders have not done that. They've gone to sleep, they've switched off just for a second, and they've been punished for it.
Westwood. Rocastle. Lee Peacock. McGovern, the man whose goal has been cancelled out. This is Quinn getting his body in the way ahead of Westwood. This is Bruce. Vicious.
And nothing wrong with that. He skipped past the defender. Nobody's come towards him. He thinks, well, let's have a shot. Why not? Good work again by Quinn. Just clipped there. Look, nobody comes towards him. He thinks, well, why not have a go here? Doesn't hit the target, but still have to have a go.
Well, all his half-time words have gone to waste, Paul Sturrock.
You can bet your bottom dollar that the thing he said at half-time, get out, start the second half right. Don't lose your concentration. Don't take any chances. All goes out the window.
Barron.
Paul Sturrock has got the trump card to play. We know that in MacLean.
Humphreys. Looking for Boyd. It's Woods, header away. Cleared by Heckingbottom.
The tempo's so much better from Hartlepool at the start of this second half, and it was Williams who started not with the goal, the run before where he had a shot. It was blocked, but they started better in the second half. The tempo was much better.
Adam Boyd. Porter. Matty Robson. He's past McGovern. Saw the glory for himself.
Well, he does like getting forward. He has got an eye for a goal. There's a bit of an adrenaline rush here. Good possession again, good patient build-up, with a little bit of trickery, and the adrenaline rush there. Look at his body shape there. Totally off balance when he hit it.
And had he hit it right and got the goal, perhaps he would have felt that was closure on his first half mistake that allowed McGovern to score for Sheffield Wednesday. As it is, still anybody's game. Humphreys.
Concourse at half-time, the Sheffield Wednesday fans, you hear them, well, it should be 3, it should be 4, perhaps maybe it should have done, but it wasn't. It's now 1-all. A lot to play for.
Rocastle. Brunt up to his left. Chris Brunt, Peacock wants it played early. Cut out by Westwood.
I think maybe Brunt could have done a little bit better there, maybe got in the box, caused a few more problems, took it early.
Wood and Bullen forward from the back. Wood charging in.
There's terrific quality from the corner there from McGovern.
Sweeney paying for his bravery.
He's whipped in with pace towards the near post. It's attacked well by Wood. Just a collision there, maybe against the post. Wood, does he push him against it?
He's communicating at least, Sweeney, but the impact of the fall.
Whether he just clipped the post on the way down. Very close to it.
fans amongst the Sheffield Wednesday contingent. They're all making plenty of noise as the game again rests on a knife edge. Great pass from Baron carries despite Quinn's attendance. Here's Lee Bullen. Sweeney's still off the field at the moment, although it doesn't look as though he'll be off for too much longer. Indeed, he's back on. Quinn. Rocastle. Recovery challenge from Boyd and then cleared by Williams.
Couldn't quite get it out of his feet there. Rocastle, intelligent play again from Quinn.
Whelan. Back by McGovern. Now Bruce. Quinn. McGovern. That's cleared. Peacock, well taken.
Good goalkeeping there.
It's an area in goalkeepers where Hartlepool feel they're well served. Konstantopoulos has made the position his own this season.
And Magnificent was here in the semi-final at Tranmere.
There's a real presence about him, doesn't he? The one-time Greek under-21 international.
Shirt big enough to get that name right.
Porter. Bruce. Now Humphries. Away by Wood. Sweeney.
It hasn't happened so far in this second half. Whelan hasn't been allowed to get on the ball in any shape or form. Every time he got the ball in the first half, he was allowed to make quite a few yards with it and cause problems. He's not allowed that this second half.
Here's Joel Porter. And Wood concedes the corner.
Porter does that well. He gets in channels, he hurries defenders, he harasses them.
Kick. Slipped as he took it. Humphries. Quinn. Richie Humphries. Trying to get the better of Glenn Whelan. He's pulled it back. Bullen is there. Barron. They've given Strachan too much to do. Wood. Bullen. It's Nelson. Humphries. Boyd. Williams on the far side calling for it. Whelan. Bruce. Nelson's header. Now Porter. Strachan. Humphries. Joel Porter. Neat play this from Hartlepool. Boyd. Sweeney!
Well, terrific build-up yet again. It's a totally different Hartlepool side we're seeing from the first half. Confident, keeping possession very well, good retention, good movement, Good support for the man on the ball. Look at the little pass here. Takes it early, just couldn't quite get across it.
The team transformed at the moment, Hartlepool. Quinn. Rocastle. Whelan. That's cross blocked by McGovern.
Something wrong with Barron. He's signaling to the bench. Is he there?
He's had hamstring trouble anyway. He's had a whole spate of injuries at the end of the season. Flick back by Quinn.
It's clearly struggling, Barron.
They do have a player in Darren Craddock on the bench who can slot in for him.
Don't want to lose your captain, do you?
Boyd. Barron has played every single game that Hartlepool have ever played in the playoffs, but he's not going to see this one out. He didn't see out last year's semi-final second leg or this year's, and he's not going to see out the final either. Will he be going up to lift the trophy at the end of the evening as captain? Darren Craddock, at 20 years of age, comes on with a big onus on him now.
Hard man to replace. Barron leads by example, the skipper. Hardly troubled first half. There's the experience of Humphreys been given the armband. No surprise there.
Boyd. Wood. Sweeney. It's Westwood. Joel Porter.
Well, again, intelligent running into the channels, dragging the big centre-halves out where they don't like going.
Nelson. This is Bullen. By Peacock. McGovern. Bruce. McGovern. Got past Nelson. Peacock. Good hit by McGovern into the side netting though.
Well, it's a good strike. It's a good strong play by the strikers again. He follows his pass up here. Strong play. Gets a little bit of a lucky rebound. McGovern follows it up. It's a good strike. Always just missing into the side netting. See the angle here. It's a good strike. See, I think the Sheffield Wednesday fans thought that was in. They were right behind it. Knew it wasn't. It's a real first bit of attacking play we've seen from Sheffield Wednesday in this second half. Totally dominated the first 45, but they found it a little bit more difficult this second half.
Quinn. McGovern. Not the ball that Whelan was looking for.
Well, he could have released it earlier. Whelan had made a terrific run in a lot of space. McGovern turned back outside again, and when he finally played the ball, too much on it.
Strachan. Whelan. Well, he won his initial duel with Strachan and was then taken down by Westwood.
Could he have stayed on his feet here? Does well here, strong. I think he can stay on his feet. Was there any contact?
The referee hasn't produced any cards so far. And Phil Crossley is just putting Westwood on a final warning for that as well.
I think Whelan stays on his feet there. Either he's got the option of doing something or there's a man wide for him. But it's still a good opportunity from here.
So where is their modern-day Chris Waddle?
It's virtually impossible, isn't it? Nobody like it.
McGovern or Brunt will fancy their chances here. It's Chris Brunt. Unlucky.
Very unlucky. That looked a terrific strike. He's had a few in the first half that he's nearly delivered. Look, it's a long way out, but what a good clip this is. And that's just scraped the outside of the post. Terrific technique. A bit further away than we thought, but still good technique from Brunt.
Well, he had joy with a free kick in the semi-final, although he had a bit of luck with that against Tranmere. Via a deflection. Craddock's throw. Higginbottom's header away. Craddock again. Wood. Brunt's boot was raised. Boyd.
At this stage how much MacLean is coming into Paul Sturrock's thoughts. 20-odd minutes to go, and do you put him on now and take the chance of going into extra time in another half hour, because he's missed quite a bit of the end of the season. How fit is he?
Here's McGovern. They look to stretch Hartlepool here. They look for Peacock with the ball. Westwood, though, got across.
Well, is it a matter of time before that ploy works? The ball from McGovern, the attack by Peacock at the near post. Love to see strikers do that. I was always taught as a striker, hit the near post, and I'd get a right battering by the manager if I didn't.
Brunt's corner. Castle. Nelson. On by Quinn. Here's Peacock. Now McGovern. Followed up round the back, but it was too late. It had gone behind.
Well, you expect quality from John Paul McGovern. It didn't quite happen for him there. Got in a good area, but couldn't quite get his boot wrapped round it.
So they might have to be forced into another change here with John Daly, because Joel Porter is struggling with injury. He had a thigh problem anyway coming into the playoffs, which kept him out of the starting lineup for both of the semi-finals. And he's going off here to be replaced by John Daly.
He's been lively second half, Porter. It could be a loss.
Daly, who's playing for his third club of this season, joined from Stockport, and he'd already had a loan spell at Grimsby from there. He scored for all of those clubs, although just the one for Hartlepool, and it was one that helped them to get into the playoffs against Bournemouth on the final day. Here's Williams.
Well, it was right in front of the assistant, but was it a foul? Nips past him here. Arms and legs flailing, but he gets a touch on the ball and then goes to ground.
Gavin Strachan with the free kick. Sweeney! Daly just on the scene, gets his head to it, and Hartlepool are in raptures.
Well, managers live and die by their substitutions sometimes, and what a substitution this has been. Enforced, we know. It's about quality of the delivery. I'm not so sure it was a free kick in the first place, but look at the attack. Goalkeeper in no man's land. Terrific header. Good attack. No stopping that. Too much power. Nobody picks him up. Look at the space he gets here. In between two. Hangs well, and that's a terrific finish.
1 minute and 6 seconds on the pitch, and John Daly truly is a super sub for Hartlepool. A blistering header that was unstoppable, and Hartlepool from 1-0 down are now heading towards the championship.
Well, the boys at half-time said Hartlepool are not out of this game, and don't we know it now? It's all about the delivery. If you get quality delivery and you're given something to attack as a striker, you'll always have a chance.
Here's McGovern. Now Quinn. James Quinn. And Westwood manages to get it away. On by Daly. Here's Boyd. Peacock, and cleared by Nelson, with Daly coming back from an offside position. Well, what is Paul Sturrock thinking at this moment? He went into half-time with his team leading, his supporters celebrating. They already look as though they were partying, but now it's all turned around, and this is Adam Boyd. And that's only just wide.
Transformation has been staggering from Hartlepool. The buoyant are on top. We see Boyd skip past, takes it early, just drags it across the face of the goal. Unlucky.
Here's Whelan. Now Bruce.
Well, there's the man who made the goal. Hartlepool to take the lead. Terrific quality, good delivery, attack well by Daly. The keeper's got no chance. And look at Dad. How proud is he there? Terrific header by Daly.
Well, Daly the hero, but a new job for Gordon Strachan at Celtic, and will it be a new division for Gavin Strachan? whole series of substitutions here for Paul Sturrock. Drew Talbot is coming on to take the place of Lee Peacock. And next on is the man we wondered if we would see, Steve MacLean. They're going to gamble now on his fitness and take off James Quinn. And Patrick Collins is coming on as well in place of Alex Bruce.
Well, it's a big gamble, 3 subs being thrown on. All you need is one injury now, you're in trouble if you get back in the game. I'm surprised Quinn and Peacock have gone off. One may be, but both. It's a big gamble.
Williams.
It's amazing, 2 in 4 substitutions, and both substitutes have done the business.
Boyd. Here's Craddock. Sweeney. Back by Whelan, there's Heckingbottom to clear. Talbot. Brunt. McGovern. Nelson. That's Heckingbottom. Whelan. McGovern. Westwood cuts it out.
Terrific ability, one by a midfielder, one by a defender there. The ball from Whelan is terrific out to McGovern. Good first touch, Robson dives in there, tricks him, does the right thing, tries to tease it across. Westwood has to get there.
And from Brunt's corner, Westwood climbs to clear. Back across by Brunt. Westwood struggling to clear. Good attempt by Talbot.
A long way out for an overhead kick, but why not try and catch them napping?
Boyd's made the run, giving Williams the angle to find him. And Rocastle here having to try and hold him off. Big week ahead for Gordon Strachan as he takes over at Celtic Park, but what an occasion for him to enjoy before that. Gavin Strachan, who once had a trial with Sheffield Wednesday, incidentally, and played against Hartlepool in a pre-season friendly, is now showing them what they missed out on when they didn't sign him. But Sheffield Wednesday could get level if Talbot could maybe make something of this. Taken away from him by Robson, for whom the afternooners turned around so magnificently.
Yeah, he had to get a foot in there. I thought Talbot may have done a little bit better, but he's only just come on trying to get the pace of the game.
Strachan. Humphreys. Brunt. Heckingbottom. Rocastle. Bullock. Talbot's unlucky. And Humphries clears. Wood. Rocastle. Wood. Collins wins the throw. McGovern's cross. Talbot has a stab. Is he still going to get there? He was pulled back by Westwood. It's a penalty.
Well, there certainly looked to be contact there, but Craddock and Westwood livid. We see here, gets a lucky bounce, gets in front of Westwood. There's a push on there's an arm on the back of him. You can't do that. And he's having a right go at the referee. He's off as well. Well, how games turn on the head so quickly. There's definitely a hand on the back there.
A red card for Chris Westwood. Hartlepool in the last 10 minutes down to 10 men, and now relying on a goalkeeper who saved 2 penalties in a shootout to get them here to try and preserve their lead. And the man on whose fitness they've gambled has the task of drawing Sheffield Wednesday level. Steve MacLean, who they thought would miss the rest of the season, plays a crucial part in it by scoring the goal that draws Wednesday level.
Well, how's your bottle, son? Oh, it's all right, thank you very much. He's only had a touch of the ball, but he's confident enough to go and stick that ball a bit luckily in the back of the net. The keeper's unlucky, but he's brave enough to take it. Look at it, he gets a hand on it, the powers beat him, but that takes a big man in a big situation to do what he did, believe me. Gets a hand, but no chance of stopping the power. And they look at him, he can't watch it, he knows it's in now. Oh, look at the relief.
Well, Sturrock had to rely on the reaction of the crowd to tell him that that goal from his top scorer has put Sheffield Wednesday back on level terms.
And 10 men. How close to glory you can be 1 second, how far away the next.
Well, that's the playoffs for you. Down 1 minute, up the next. Heckingbottom.
Well, the referee made a big decision, and then giving the penalty and sending Westwood off, who'd been impressive up until that moment.
Supported club, Sheffield Wednesday, but they thought it was going to be another day of woe with the way the second half started.
Can't speak highly enough about this man, MacLean. To have the bottle and the nerve after he's been out so long to do what he did, terrific.
Strachan. Humphries looking for a way through. Well, there were plenty over then for MacLean, but he fell over the ball. And it's Bullen. Contrasting emotions of the two managers now. Martin Scott still questioning that decision. Paul Sturrock relieved that it happened.
It wasn't big contact, but they'll definitely look to have a firm hand on his back.
Daly could be in here. That's just beat him. Williams. Bottom. MacLean looks to McGovern. Right round the back looking for Talbot. Brunt. Offside flag up against Steve MacLean.
Well, was this a penalty? Was it a sending off? How much contact was there? see the ball, he gets a little bit of luck, gets beyond, and there's contact there. That's got to be a penalty. The referee's got it right.
The dream is still alive for Paul Sturrock to start the Sheffield Wednesday revival. Just when it looked as though it was slipping away, his triple substitution has worked for him. One of the players brought on won the penalty, and another took it and scored.
Well, they say it's hard to play against 10 men. We'll see how difficult Sheffield Wednesday find it. How much resilience, how much belief Hartlepool have still got. Can they take it into extra time and maybe the penalties?
And MacLean. Two over to his right, who was struck against Chris Brunt.
Well, we see how well he gets into dangerous areas, MacLean. Just his lack of fitness will find him out, even for the amount of time he could be on the pitch.
Well, they were parting at half-time, and it was premature. They're not even in the lead now, but they're still in the mood to party. Cardiff is vibrant.
Say this is why you play the game, this is why you coach, this is why you support your team. These sort of occasions, you have to enjoy every second of them. Don't come along very often.
Well, if you can guarantee going up in the playoffs, this is certainly the stage on which to do it. It's just such a feeling of emptiness if you are to miss out here. McGovern.
Robson does well there. Sheffield Wednesday obviously feel that this is maybe a little bit of a weak link down this right-hand flank.
Heckingbottom. McGovern's header. Humphreys. Bullen's ball in. MacLean. Now McGovern. John Paul McGovern.
How dangerous is he? Cuts inside this time, can go on the outside. But just trying to get the ball out to him as much as possible. And slip there, plays a 1-2, gets it back from MacLean. Decent drive, goes over, but what a danger he is. Bright, intelligent, doesn't trouble the keeper.
Paul Sturrock's many superstitions is that he can't bring himself to watch stoppage time. Is he going to force himself to watch whatever's added on here?
I think he probably do what he normally does. Might change the habits. Yeah, that's superstitious.
I wonder if it includes extra time as well. Is he going to go missing for half an hour?
Yeah, where's he going to go for half an hour? Surely. Who would be a manager? Fluctuations in this game of ours. One minute euphoric, the next minute just down in the dumps.
Still plenty of people applying when the vacancies come up though, which is why Martin Scott, I'm sure, would like the job at Hartlepool full-time.
The way by Robson for the corner. How evident is it that this is where they think Sheffield Wednesday they can win this game with McGovern against Robson?
Heckingbottom, Wood, Collins and Bullen all in there for Brunt's corner.
Everybody came near post and centre, and nobody stayed at the back post there. There was a good flick. Everybody had come in too flat.
Talbot. Away by Nelson.
Hartlepool started the better in the second half, but the possession still goes to Sheffield Wednesday.
Whelan's strike, and it's back to him. 3 minutes of stoppage time have been added on. Brunt looks for the cross. Chance here. Wonderful challenge, though, from Nelson. It was Wood who'd lined it up. Committed forward heavily here, Sheffield Wednesday. It's John Paul McGovern. And he's gone for it.
Well, if anybody's going to win this game for Sheffield Wednesday, you think it's going to be John Paul McGovern.
We may be in injury time, but there is no shifting him today. Paul Sturrock looks as though he's suffering all the agonies you associate with managers in the playoffs, but he's staying put. Is there to be the final glory for his team before we get as far as extra time? They're battering away at 10-man Hartlepool. Westwood having gone off, Williams having had to drop to right back, and Craddock filling in alongside Nelson. It is very much a question of hanging on now for the men from the northeast. Collins. McGovern set away by Talbot, but that's asking too much of him.
And if it is to go into extra time, the 10 men have just got to dig right in. The concentration levels have got to be kept up, because the mind gets tired as well as the legs, and that's when you start making mistakes.
Collins. Here's Nelson. Oh, he's in trouble here against Talbot. Brunt! Good block by Williams. Heroic defending from Hartlepool.
Well, it didn't have to be heroic, this as well. Brunt, there's the block there, throwing bodies at it. That's what they've got to do, Hartlepool. He's a striker.
Wood. Nelson slipped. Good defending by Wood. But Daly's gone down, and the referee has blown for full time, so 90 minutes has not been able to separate these sides. Steve MacLean has taken us to extra time with his coolly taken penalty after another substitute. John Daly felt that he'd perhaps won the game for Hartlepool, but it was not to be the case. John McGovern's early goal had been cancelled out right at the start of the second half by yet another substitute, Avian Williams, but Hartlepool will have to battle through extra time with 10 men. Chris Westwood having been sent off for the challenge on Talbot that led to the penalty, the crucial penalty that has taken us to an extra 30 minutes.
Thanks, Rob. For the second day running, we are going into extra time in Cardiff. 2-2 at the end of 90 minutes. Dramatic 90 minutes as well, especially in the last few moments there. We'll have the verdict as well on the penalty. That was unbelievable, wasn't it? I suppose if he gives a penalty, he has to send off Chris Westwood, and we'll get the verdict on that from Mike Newell and Mark McGee in a few moments. But for Stephen MacLean to score from the spot after missing 12 games with a broken foot, I thought he was out for the season. Well, what does Martin Scott do now? And Paul Sturrock is back in the match. Mark McGee, first of all, I mean, what do you make of that?
Well, I mean, Hartlepool did so brilliantly at half-time. You know, we don't think a lot of us really held out much hope for them, but to get the lead and then to be robbed of it, you know, by what is again a controversial decision, as you say. Once he gives a penalty, he's got to send him off. But I think none of us here are totally convinced that it was a clear-cut penalty.
We'll see that in a few moments, obviously, and look back at that. But Mike, your initial reaction to at the end of the game?
Well, they got themselves back into the game. The way we said at half-time, if they get it down and pass it, they can do. And they controlled it for a 20-minute spell and created some decent chances. Everything's gone against them in the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes. They've used all the subs, and it's going to be hard now for half an hour.
Paul Sturrock made a dramatic substitution in the all three in one go, but Hartlepool are down to 10 men. Can they hold out?
I think they can hold out if they can find some way of just giving themselves a bit of relief by getting the ball forward and keeping it just for a few seconds, even to allow them to regroup. But if they keep taking punches, you know, then eventually they'll take a knockout punch. So they have to find a way of hitting back a little bit. They've put Boyd on the right-hand side, and maybe I'd like to have seen him maybe just be the one who stay up the middle, because I think he's best suited to keep the ball for them, just to give them that little bit of respite.
You would think they've got to play for penalties now, George. I think that's the best hope. If they can hold on for half an hour, take it to penalties.
Well, Paul Sturrock given a few choice words, no doubt.
I think Paul
Martin Scott as well.
I think Paul was saying there about the lad getting in at the back post on these diagonals that they've been hitting. You know, for that last 20 minutes, they kept, you know, planting that ball on top of the Hartlepool left back. Robinson was having a difficult time in there, and that's what I think Paul was saying there. Keep getting in the back of them, keep getting in the back of them, and I think we can expect to see plenty of that in this extra time period.
It's the time now where managers have to play a full role, isn't it, Mike? Important words.
Yeah, to be honest, tired legs. You've got tired legs, particularly Hartlepool now down to 10 minutes. It's going to be difficult for them. It's Paul Sturrock, Martin Scott's last chance, and to say their piece and get everything they possibly can out of their players.
So you think Hartlepool's best chance is to play for penalties?
Well, I think if they hold on, I think obviously it can go either way, penalties, but it will be difficult for them now for half an hour.
But does Sheffield Wednesday have to go for it, Mark, and avoid penalties at all costs and go for the win?
I think so, and I think they're always going to have to be cautious. You know, they don't want to leave themselves exposed. They don't want to go gung-ho. You know, but I've got to say, I mean, I think Nelson in particular has played brilliantly, defended brilliantly for Hartlepool. The goalkeeper is a good goalkeeper and has played well. And I think that, you know, Hartlepool still have the ability to see this out and take it to penalties, like Mike said. But it's going to be really as hard a half hour as these boys have ever experienced. They're going to be asked questions that they've never been asked before, and the stakes are so high for them.
Because everything is draining. The crowd drains you, the pitch drains you, the effort you put in mentally and physically.
And being down to the 10 men is psychologically a massive blow to Hartlepool. If it was 11 men now, Hartlepool would be fancying their chances even now. But with 10 men, they'll have doubts. They'll be thinking about their legs. They'll be thinking about penalty kicks, maybe even already trying to get to penalty kicks. One thing I've got to say is I think a lot of decisions have went against, a lot of small decisions have went against Hartlepool. You know, a lot of free kicks that they think they should have got that they didn't get, and all these things, you know, play in their minds.
Well, there's a few choice decisions to be made again, but let's go back to our commentators for extra time, Gary Birtles and Rob Hawthorne.
Well, all of the efforts of the season could rest on this half hour now. We're still no closer to knowing who will be in the Championship next season. Whether it will be Sheffield Wednesday, who've had the lead in this game, or whether it will be Hartlepool, who led 2-1, only to be clawed back by that penalty in the last 10 minutes of the 90. Both of the managers have used all three of their substitutes, and 3 of the goals have been scored by substitutes. Here's Whelan.
We know legs are going to tire in extra time, but I think some mental strength from both sets of players. Who's going to, you know, who's going to come out on top? Who's the stronger? Who's got the concentration levels better? It's easy for me to say. My concentration's going even now in extra time.
Back by Richie Humphries. I wonder now if it's a question for Hartlepool of playing for penalties, bearing in mind that was what got them here.
You've got to think that that's what's in their minds. They try and go for it gung-ho, that they're just going to encourage Sheffield Wednesday onto them, and we've seen how dangerous McGovern's been all afternoon.
Humphries. Caught by Whelan.
Do get fouls, run the clock down if they possibly can, frustrate Sheffield Wednesday.
Strachan put in the delivery from which John Daly put Hartlepool ahead. He's in there again, but finds himself positioned behind Lee Bullen this time. Back in from Boyd. Sweeney climbing. Strachan. Robson just shows too much of it to McGovern. Now here's Talbot. MacLean up ahead. Williams does enough.
MacLean taking a good position up there. Better delivery would have sent him clear.
Here's Wood. Lee Bullen. Back by MacLean. And sliced clear by Evian Williams.
Daly's got a thankless task running the lone roll up front. Boyd's had to drop back in midfield to help out. Sheffield Wednesday have got to do. They've got to be patient. They've got 11 out there. Just make the ball do the work. Get the Hartlepool midfield and back four chasing. Stretch it a little bit.
Bullet. Nelson. Maybe out of trouble from MacLean, but it's fallen to Glenn Whelan. And he goes on Whelan! Yes! Sheffield Wednesday heading in the right direction now. Is Whelan's goal enough to take them all the way to the championship?
Well, his first half performance was terrific. Drifted out, but that's the man you've got to blame, I'm sorry. As a centre-half, 10 men, you cannot try and be clever. You just can't do it. You clear your lines. And Whelan has made him pay in a big, big way. You hate to see players make individual mistakes that cost games, but look, he does ever so well here. Then he tries to be clever, and he gets caught out, tries to chest it down. Whelan capitalises, strong here, terrific finish in the end. But look, you don't do that as a centre-half. 10 men, give the opposition the time and the wherewithal to get back in front, and he does it to perfection here. Tries to pull him down, sees his mistake, just can't rectify it. Decent strike, keeper's got no chance.
One of their most dynamic performers on the day. Glenn Whelan crowns that performance with his 4th goal of the season. They haven't won any of those when they've scored, when he scored his previous 3, but if they can change that habit, then Sheffield Wednesday will be going back up a league.
Well, he'll try and atone for his mistake there. He'll be desperate to get his team back on level terms.
It's aimed towards Nelson. Cleared by Talbot. Wood. Now Robson.
That's disappointing, and that flattens you. You've got time to put a delivery in, that'll put pressure on your opponents. It goes way over the crossbar into safety for Sheffield Wednesday.
Well, a sinking feeling now for Hartlepool, but contrast that with the pleasure that Sheffield Wednesday are feeling. They've allowed themselves to get carried away before, and it has come back to haunt them. But now with Hartlepool down to 10 men, surely the balance is tipped in Sheffield Wednesday's favour.
Well, if you think the Hartlepool fans are down, think how Michael Nelson feels. He'll be devastated.
Sad for Nelson, who was such a hero in getting Hartlepool this far. Daly trying to pull away from Heckingbottom. Offside, Drew Talbot.
Came back from an offside position. All of a sudden, Sheffield Wednesday have gone a little bit nervy. They've gone in front and they perhaps don't know what to do now. They were desperate to get in front, but when you do get in front, you think, well, do I go for another one? Do we settle for 3-2? We're playing against 10 men.
Daly's header on. Boyd helps it on. No one there to pick up the pieces. McGovern. Talbot trying to leave it behind. Either MacLean or Rocastle. This is Whelan. McGovern. Talbot. Collins. Rocastle. McGovern. Paul Heckingbottom. This is Brunt. Frees Heckingbottom. Time to measure the cross.
Again, there's just no pressure on Heckingbottom there. And he just puts it straight in the goalkeeper's arms.
Here's Boyd. Back to Daly, but cleared by Wood.
Boyd has gone back up front with Daly. They have to do that. They have to gamble a little bit now to get back in this game.
Here's John Paul McGovern. MacLean. Here's McGovern. Rocastle. Now Collins.
They don't want to do, Sheffield Wednesday. Give the ball back to Hartlepool.
Well, Bullen had a piece of Adam Boyd's shirt. It's Gavin Strachan with a free kick. Nelson on. Looking by Humphreys, but over the top.
That's tired, that, isn't it? Legs are getting heavy, concentration dips a little bit. You know how close you were to glory and it's suddenly been taken away from you.
MacLean. Now Brunt. Wood. Here's Boyd. Williams, keeper Sweeney, Nelson, Humphreys, good hit.
That was a good hit straight at the keeper. Either side, you got a chance.
Here's Rocastle. Heckingbottom. MacLean. Brunt.
That's naive play by Brunt. Just keep the ball moving, keep Hartlepool chasing in midfield, make it difficult for them.
Daly gets the flick on, but Boyd just couldn't bring it down.
This is how quickly it can turn around. You lose the ball at one end and the next minute it's in your penalty area. Keep possession, that's the key for Sheffield Wednesday now. Don't give it cheaply back to the opposition.
Brunt took it on that last occasion. Here's Wood. Here's Heckingbottom. Brunt again. Talbot just holding it up from Michael Nelson.
It's better, that's all you have to do.
Heckingbottom. MacLean. Well, this is what they need to do to see it through to a successful conclusion. Space here for Talbot, but he gets the shot all right.
I didn't realise how much space and time he did have there, but that's what you do when you're playing against 10, you're a goal in front, you chase, make them chase, keep possession. Despite what happens here today, you know, what a magnificent fight back they put up, Hartlepool, in the second half. They were overrun first half, got back in front. Unfortunate to get Westwood sent off from the penalty.
Well, they've come a long way in a short space of time, Hartlepool. It was a revival that was started by a manager who went on to Sheffield Wednesday, of course, Chris Turner. Continued by Mike Newell and then Neil Cooper, who really should have been a part of this occasion today, but for a fallout close to the end of the campaign. Looks as though it's going to end in tears for them here. MacLean!
Well, he's not scared to have a go, is he? Why not? The season he's had. Probably a little bit of interplay. Does he pick the wrong option? He's got a man in the middle, but he has a strike. He makes the keeper make a save. That's what we have to do. No chance with any of the goals, Constantopoulos.
Brunt's corner. Whelan!
With the Sheffield Wednesday fans like to have seen a captain score there.
Whelan. Rocastle. Heckingbottom. Talbot. Kept in by John Paul McGovern. This is the sensible thing to do now for Drew Talbot. Want to throw in out of Nelson as he was looking to take it into the corner. One more minute in this first period of extra time for Sheffield Wednesday to see out.
Is keep possession over there. With the knowledge in the second period of extra time that Hartlepool will have to gamble and push men forward, then the chances come your way.
Tim Scott's team will be attacking the end of the second period of extra time, where they got both their goals already. Heckingbottom. Side flag up against Talbot. Sheffield Wednesday are 15 minutes away now from claiming their place in the Championship. Thanks to the goal from Glenn Whelan that occurred early in that first period of extra time, Gary.
And what a way to lose it from Hartlepool's perspective. Look, he tries to be clever, the centre-half Nelson, gets punished for it, tries to atone, can't get near him, and it's a cool finish. Just beyond the reach of Konstantopoulos. Look at this, you don't do that when you're down to 10 men. Just gets punished by it. Good strike, there's no saving that. Short backswing. Good direction, not a chance for the keeper. It's awful to see an individual mistake, you know, cost Hartlepool, because Nelson, above anybody in the semi-final, was absolutely tremendous. He held them together almost single-handedly at times.
Well, it needs to be some rousing speech now from Martin Scott.
It's good that you've got to get tighter. All over. Push him in. Give me. Get a sweeper. Come on. Still restless. Come on. Hey, let's look it on the court.
Are they the words that will rouse his team to a revival? The new untried manager stepped up from the shoulder of Neil Cooper, to whom he's given a large part of the credit for what's happened this season. But Scott is the man who has the responsibility of taking them that final step of the way, and it's going to need an extra time comeback now as they gather their thoughts again. Richie Humphries, who took over the captain's armband, seemed to be the inspirational talker in that huddle.
Well, we've seen a monumental comeback from one team in red last week. Liverpool's superb performance. Can this team in red emulate them?
They've got 15 minutes. Liverpool did it in 6. Here's Whelan, man who's put Hartlepool on the back foot. Put away by Craddock.
Not a lot you can say in response to that. They did it in 6 minutes.
Of course, the difference for Hartlepool is that they've only got 10 men. Westwood having been sent off. Front cross. Perhaps had to get a touch to that. Menacing presence here from McGovern. This will do for Sheffield Wednesday if they can frustrate opponents like Robson.
See, that was a foul. I mean, I know people don't like to see players go in corner flags and try and kill time, but that's what you do as a player. And that's clearly a foul right in front of the assistant. He didn't give it.
Daly's header on. Sweeney cleared by Heckingbottom. It's Nelson. Strachan. Humphries. Now Robson, Strachan. Boyd helped it on. Chance here for Sweeney.
Well, that is an immense chance, and there's an immense challenge from Bullen.
Here's MacLean. Challenge by Nelson, just holds him up for now. McGovern trying to get round the outside of Robson. Pull back at his shirt, free kick.
Well, tremendous tackling by Bullen at the death there. What a good chance. Gets it in front of him, and look at the timing of that tackle yet again. Has to be perfection. That should be a kick up the backside for Sheffield Wednesday. The knowledge that that can happen.
Here's Talbot.
Just come off him. He's winding the clock down, keeping them pinned in their own half.
Collins. Good run. Was he clipped there by Nelson? Nothing given. Daly. He's fouled by Rocastle.
There's a few tired challenges going in out there. You'd expect that. The referee being lenient with it. The referee have to understand at this level that you go into extra time, there are tired minds, tired legs, and a little bit of leeway now and again.
Bullen. Humphreys. Well, that could be a costly foul.
How silly is this? Looked up, there's only not one, there's two jump all over him. You'd have no arguments with that at all.
Is Strachan going to be the match winner? He hopes so. Strachan sizes it up. Nelson to the right of them. But it's Gavin Strachan against the wall.
You almost felt the sigh of relief from the Sheffield Wednesday supporters there.
Well, they could finish it here. It's Whelan. If he picks the right choice, it could be through, but Nelson back there against Talbot. Oh, how cool is that from Konstantopoulos? He could pay for it still. He did well initially, but then dwelt on it, and Talbot seized upon the moment. McGovern. Rocastle. Craig Rocastle again, no real urgency to get the ball in the box for Sheffield Wednesday. There doesn't need to be.
No, there doesn't. There's under 10 minutes to go, but is it too early to keep going in corner flags? What about the goalkeeper there? What was he thinking of?
Rocastle. McGovern.
All of the good work they've done in that corner flag then goes straight out the window as he blasts it straight across the bar.
He knows that his team can't afford to do anything stupid now. They're so close to what they came here for. To be a final twist for Martin Scott's side. Scott, a man who was born in Sheffield, his father a United fan, his father-in-law a Sheffield Wednesday fan. I suppose from the in-laws' point of view they can't really lose today, although I'm sure that family ties would take precedence over old club loyalties.
Well, Christmas Day was interesting around their house. Hartlepool do have out there are two players who are relatively fresh in Daly and Williams. Both have scored goals, so there's still fresh legs out there for them if they get the ball forward in the right areas.
Humphreys. Rocastle and McGovern in a bit of a mix-up. McGovern emerges unscathed. Heckingbottom. McGovern. Just to pull it back from MacLean. Cleared though by Nelson. Here's Boyd. Rocastle. Here's Collins. Given away cheaply. This is Robson. Whelan wins it back. MacLean looks for McGovern. Offside.
Shattered MacLean. It's been out a while. Trying to take its toll out there. But how big a part did he play in? Could possibly this victory standing up there, big to take the penalty.
He missed 12 games with a stress fracture of the foot that was expected to keep him out for the rest of the season, but didn't he time his return well? Wood couldn't take the chance there. Daly was just unsettling them.
You want your goalkeeper to come out and demand the ball. Didn't quite happen with Lucas.
Still the worry's not over for David Lucas. 6 minutes of extra time to go. Hartlepool with a corner that Gavin Strachan takes. Daly slips, couldn't get near it, and it's cleared by Collins to Nelson. Humphreys. Barely bring himself to watch at times, Paul Sturrock. Humphreys. Away by Rocastle.
Problem is they're giving it straight back to Hartlepool all the time. They're not using it intelligently, using that extra man well.
Climbing all over the back of Talbot, and he's given away a free kick.
Just what Sheffield Wednesday want. Take the pressure off a little bit, regroup.
Strachan. Robson.
If it stays this way and they do go up, Sheffield Wednesday, a lot of teams in the Championship will be delighted with the away support they're going to get next season from Sheffield Wednesday fans.
McGovern. Lost his footing. This is Talbot. McGovern. Now Whelan. Collins. Wood. Play safe, play sensibly for Sheffield Wednesday now. Hartlepool just trying to harry them into a mistake. Collins. It's a good run from the substitute. Stopped by Craddock. Shot from MacLean. The sting taken out of it.
Some run that was from the sub.
Paul Sturrock is taking nothing for granted here, and he's telling Rocastle that he's lost a bit of his focus, that he should be sitting there.
It's about concentration. I think that's what he's trying to do. Concentrate. Don't go too far forward. Don't get stretched. You protect us.
They've come too far to let it slip away now. Whelan. Buller. They've come this far in such a short space of time in Sturrock's reign. Talbot doing the professional thing.
This system just seems to be giving free kicks against Sheffield Wednesday because they're going into a corner flag.
Strachan, on by Daly. Craddock. Headed back by Whelan. He's been terrific, Whelan. Scored the goal. Tirelessly worked in midfield. He's giving good protection. He is concentrating, and he's shattered. One-time Manchester City player for whom his only appearance was here in a UEFA Cup tie against Total Network Solutions. MacLean. Scythed down by Craddock. Terrific play by MacLean. Working on memory at times. He must be shattered out there. Knows he's got to hold it. Got to commit people. That's what he did. A feeling of deflation for the Hartlepool fans. But Sheffield Wednesday are 1 minute away from claiming their place in the Championship. A goal now, and even in this week, this month of comebacks, surely that would be done and dusted. Well, just 2 moments have cost them, haven't they? They're sending off with Westwood, and then I don't know what Nelson was thinking about when he tried to be a little bit too clever. That's what has cost them dear. Throwing bodies at it to try and stop Brunt and MacLean from frustrating them into submission. Stoppage time is Hartlepool's last hope of taking it to at least a penalty shootout, but Sheffield Wednesday fans know they're closing in on the prize. Another minute to endure though. 1 minute is the indicated stoppage time. They could finish it here anyway. It's Drew Talbot, and the youngest man on the pitch at 18 years of age has Sheffield Wednesday heading for the Championship. No question about it now. They are there.
Well, he may be the youngest player out there, but he didn't act like it. He acted like he'd been there for 20-odd years. You don't see better finishers than this, more confident finishers than this, more intelligent finishers than this. He did everything right here. And there's Nelson, he's down and out. But you look at this for a goal and a cool finish. Gamble's here, knows he's in the clear, aware what's around him, goes across his man, goes round the keeper, and what a good finish that is. What he does here, he knows where the man is, he goes across him here to get away, drags the keeper, terrific finish. Wonderful goal, wonderful finish to a cracking afternoon's entertainment. And he knows he's there now. He knows. And isn't he glad he stayed for stoppage time now? Hartlepool are down and out. Superstitions? What superstitions?
Williams. Sheffield Wednesday have reached their turning point. This is the day the decline stopped. They are in the Championship next season. The youngest player on the pitch made sure of it, Drew Talbot, with their 4th goal on the day in stoppage time, in extra time. Whelan set them on the road to it with a goal 3 minutes into extra time, after Hartlepool had been reduced to 10 men with the sending off of Chris Westwood. Wednesday were 2-1 down when Steve MacLean, the substitute, kept his cool to earn extra time with a well-taken penalty. And from then on, it all went Wednesday's way. Let's hear from their manager, Paul Sturrock.
Paul, you've taken Sheffield Wednesday into the Championship. Your proudest day as manager.
Oh, frightening. Look at that crowd, it's unbelievable. You know, they were the last 20 minutes, half an hour, when it looked as if we were out of it, they kept with us, got the penalty. Obviously a bit of luck getting down to 10 men, and the players were very professional in their approach the last half hour.
What does it also tell you about the character of your side, the way they came back from that?
We're a young team and we've had our ups and downs this year, losing 2-0 leads and things like that, but really in the end, you know, the kids have matured through the season. You know, some of them have played 50, 51 games, and we're still digging deep at the end of that.
When Hartlepool went 2-1 up, did any thoughts cross your mind about missing out this year?
Oh, obviously, you're down and you're chasing the game. We put the 3 subs on, we chased the game, 50 minutes to go. Got the penalty and got ourselves back in it, but, you know, it's for these people, you know, they've had 10 years where they've been in the doldrums, they've been frustrated because they believe they are a big club, and you can see they're a big club, and I'm just delighted for them.
What happened, Paul? You stayed around for injury time today.
Half an hour is a long time. I don't think I could have sat in the change room. I wish I could have, by the way, because that was unbelievable, the whole that second half.
When you were appointed at Hillsborough, you said, I've come here because this is a big challenge. How well do you feel you've done so far?
Well, obviously, I think the coaching staff, you know, everybody involved with the football club, chairman downwards, has worked so hard over the last 7-8 months. We've achieved something. We've got a hard task in our hands now, restructuring and getting ourselves ready for that league. But we're starting to get ourselves in the places we want to be.
What does it mean to you to see what it means to all these supporters here?
I've never heard that. You know, I mean, the teams I've not been derogatory when I say this, but, you know, people to take 41,000 to a game like this is incredible, and I hope they're all there to start the next season.
Enjoy the celebration.
Thank you. Cheers.
Deemed not good enough for Southampton. Paul Sturrock will be in the same division as them next season. And it really has been a remarkable turnaround by him for a team that was 14th in the table when he took over. And now their glory contrasts with the pain of Hartlepool.
How bad is he feeling? Nelson.
Well, anyone who doubts that Paul Sturrock has awoken a sleeping giant needs only to look at these scenes. He's unlocked the great potential that you always felt there was with Sheffield Wednesday.
How many times have we heard they're in the wrong division? They're not in the wrong division, they weren't, because they weren't good enough to get out of it. But look at them fans, that's what it's all about.
Well, let's hear from Steve MacLean.
Glenn, you're the parade man of the match. Many congratulations. That was your 4th goal of the season. Do you think you'll ever score a more important one today?
No, I don't think so. I don't score too many anyway, and to get one like that is brilliant, especially on such a big occasion. It's brilliant.
That was a fine strike. Can you tell me what was going through your mind when you saw it go in?
I just seen, I got the ball off the defender and I just seen the goal, and all I wanted to do was hit it, and it dropped onto my left foot, and I just smacked it and it went in, so I was delighted.
This was a great comeback from your side, wasn't it? Because at 2-1 down, it looked like Hartlepool might go all the way.
Yeah, it's been like that all season, been up and down, and I don't think any of the lads were going to give up today. And to get the goal Steve scored and then to go on and win it is a great achievement, and especially for everyone that's turned out today, it's absolutely amazing.
Let's bring Steve in here. Steve, you come on the pitch, you haven't played since early March, you have a penalty. What was going through your mind?
To score. I've been on pens all season, and been confident taking them, and to be fair, when I got the pen, I was quite confident going up to take it. I didn't hit it the best, but as I say, they all count.
Was it a gamble on the part of the manager to play you today? You hadn't played since the beginning of March.
Yeah, to be fair, I started running last Thursday, so I think it was a bit of a gamble. I've only trained Friday, Saturday. To be fair, it's paid off, so as I say, it was a big thanks to the manager, and he took a gamble, and I'm just happy he took the gamble.
Thanks very much. Many congratulations to both of you.
Well, the gamble certainly paid off. No one can quibble with any of Paul Sturrock's decisions today, but Martin Scott, who had an incredible start to life as Hartlepool manager, is seeing the other side of it today. For the pleasure, there is also the pain, and words can't express the level of that pain for Chris Westwood, who didn't even see out the end of the game. That red card, a crucial decision that helped tip the balance in Wednesday's favour.
Yeah, without doubt, he wasn't happy with the decision, but the action replays show that there was contact. The referee got it right.
Sheffield Wednesday have themselves a new managerial messiah. They put him in the same league as Jose Mourinho. He's a league below, but they're on their way. It's 5 years since Sheffield Wednesday suffered relegation from the Premiership. This, they will hope, is just their first small step back in the right direction. They have medals as a memento of their day, this wonderful day in Cardiff. But the real prize will come next season when they're walking out at grounds like Molyneux and Ellen Road and Highfield Road.
But they can't wait. But when you talk about managers and making decisions and gambles, what Steve MacLean just said there about he's only trained 2 days, Friday and Saturday. How big a gamble was that for the manager to take, and it's paid off for him dividends.
Craig Rocastle, Glenn Whelan, whose goal tipped the balance in the right direction. Cabinet Minister, Secretary of State for Works and Pensions, avid Wednesday fan David Blunkett, here to experience this wonderful occasion. Lee Bullen, the captain of Sheffield Wednesday, his first season as captain. What a way to end it. Sheffield Wednesday are back. Let the party begin in the Steel City. There will be derby matches there again next season. A whole lot more to look forward to. We wonder whether Lee Bullen will be part of it. Surely this victory this day might convince him to stay if he's wanted.
Suddenly all the tiredness disappears. You're there, you've done it. And you just want to celebrate, party. Don't they deserve it?
They do deserve it. It's Sheffield Wednesday's day. They beat Hartlepool by 4-2, and they'll be in the Championship next season.
It's a reversal of fortune for a huge, huge football club. The best news they've had for many, many years. But there were some big decisions along the way. We'll look at those in a few moments with Mike Newell and Mark McGee. And Paul Sturrock has got them back up a level. Sheffield Wednesday, League One playoff winners. A dramatic League One playoff final has gone to extra time, and it's gone to Sheffield Wednesday, and it's gone to Paul Sturrock. After the season he started with Southampton, leaving them into Sheffield Wednesday, now he's playing them next season at some point. Will that be the first name he looks for on the fixture list? That's to come. This is now Sheffield Wednesday. 40,000 fans have enjoyed a tremendous day in Cardiff. But they haven't. 300 miles back to Hartlepool. And with us again, Mike Newell and Mark McGee. And oh, geez, where do you start? Let's start with the 2-1 goal, with Hartlepool going ahead after 72 minutes, Mark. And this puts them ahead for the first time in the match.
Yeah, well, a great turnaround. I mean, we've seen a free kick there. It is. It's clearly, it's a clumsy, it's unnecessary. You see it all the time. I mean, it happens all the time. But a great delivery by Gavin Strachan and a terrific turn and header. He just gets away from his man. Sort of goal you'd have scored, mate.
Many times, yeah. Well, both of you would. You're both good in the air.
First touch, I think, George, wasn't he? He'd just come on
as sub, yeah.
Sometimes, he's just came on and the marking isn't quite sorted out, and I'm not sure exactly who's been picking him up, or somebody that shouldn't be picking him up is picking him up, and it just gives you an edge for those minute or two if you take advantage of it like that.
66 seconds he'd been on. Now both your call on this. This is the biggest decision of the day by a long way. This penalty call, 82 minutes.
Well, I think it's the lightest of touches. I mean, the referee's going to watch that tonight and he's going to say it was right because Chris Westwood puts his hand on his shoulder. But I think the lad realises he's not getting it and goes down very easily. The referee's also, for me, has not got a good view of it because of his position.
And your version of that, Mike?
Well, I think the lad's already on the way down. Wesley's put out. I mean, the thing that killed him was the sending off. Yeah. I mean, it's ruined the game for Hartlepool. It's game over once he sends him off.
Yeah, it's a double punishment, isn't it? As we know, Chris Westwood goes off 10 men into extra time, and they go behind Hartlepool. Not surprisingly.
Yeah, well, I mean, remember what game this is. This is after a hard season, hot conditions, a really game where the physical and mental, attitude's been first class, but the lad does something there he's not done the whole game. You know, he over-elaborates, he puts himself under pressure, and he takes full advantage of it to, you know, score a great goal. I mean, he'll look at that goal tonight and think, you know, what a great goal it was, and he'll remember it. Fantastic.
Is there a left elbow used here? If you look at this from, is it worth? No. What do you think? He turns his arm into it, doesn't he? But
yeah, it would have been harsh. The little things didn't go Hartlepool's way, and Mark said it at half-time, and it seemed to me to carry on right through extra time. He didn't give many decisions, and when you see the one he did give, the penalty, they'll feel very hard done by.
Big decision, that one. And the 4-2 wasn't necessary really, but it was a good finish, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, if they're going to win the game, they're as well winning it with something like this, you know. And then the memories of the penalty for them are, you know, they can argue now they've won by 2 clear goals. They've obviously stretched. Nelson's went up front. They've left a couple of lads at the back that couldn't quite cope with it, and he finishes it really, really well.
I think for the amount of ball they had in extra time, they should really have created a few more chances against the 10 men. Sheffield Wednesday, you know, they kept them right on the edge, you know, till the death.
I know it's time to enjoy the moment for Sheffield Wednesday, but do they have to strengthen up for the Championship, Mark? Well, you know about moving up there.
I think if they can, they should, but I mean, I think none of us have said it yet. I think we've got to congratulate them. You know, Paul Sturrock's done a fantastic job going in there. What did we say, 14th? To drag them up from there into the playoffs and then go and win the playoffs, you know, it's really superb, and you know, it qualifies him again. You know, any arguments that the people had about his credentials before, you know, taking this job, you know, have been answered again. He's a top guy. The players seem to really love him, but now, yeah, there has to be sacrifice. One or 2 of these might have to go, and a lot of new players are going to have to come in if they're going to go on and maintain the progress that Paul's achieved so far.
OK, it's commiserations to Hartlepool. What's that now? Their 5th failure in playoff football. It's hard to take. Martin Scott is there now.
Martin, minutes away.
Yeah, it was exciting, wasn't it? I think it was great for the TV. Great day for us. We've got to look at the bigger picture. Yes, we'd love to have won today, but tell you what, I'm so proud of them players out there. It weren't our day. I've just spoke to them in the dressing room. Things went against us. We had three lads had to come off because of injury. We got a sending off. I ain't really seen the penalty decision, but sometimes it goes like that. But I cannot fault the way the players have worked for me today. Full credit to Paul Sturrock. I think he's done a great job. So and obviously you can hear the fans outside. They'll enjoy it now in Sheffield. Good luck to them. But tell you what, I'm so proud of them players of mine.
Still caretaker manager. Surely now you're going to be permanent manager.
Well, that's not my decision. I've really, honestly, the four games I've been in charge, really enjoyed it. So exciting. The Tranmere games, the Bournemouth game, we needed a point. And today, that's the ultimate today. A great occasion. I've said to the lads, we've done one better than last season. We got beat in the sort of first legs of the playoffs last year against Bristol. Now we've got to Cardiff. Let's go one step further next year.
I must admit, I thought you'd be a lot more disappointed, or are you just putting a brave face on it?
Yes, I'm disappointed. As you can see, my voice has gone, but I think you've got to look at the bigger picture. This club is going forward. Yes, it's one step at a time, but tell you what, we're a force to be reckoned with now. We're a good team, we've got a great set of lads. If we can keep these players together, we'll be a good team next season.
It was a wonderful game. I'm sure we'll see you again next season as full-time manager. Martin, thanks for your time.
Thanks a lot. Cheers. Thanks a lot.
He's done a great job, hasn't he? And final thoughts, Mike, on the day? Enjoyed it all?
I've enjoyed it, yeah. It's not gone for Hartlepool, and they will be disappointed. He said there he is disappointed. You know, the ball didn't bounce for them, and they didn't get the decisions at the right time. They could easily have won this game, yeah.
And you've got to play them next season now, Sheffield Wednesday, haven't you?
Yeah, well, we'll look forward to that. You know, one of the things that we were joking about was about Sheffield Wednesday now looking forward to come to Withdean and Kenilworth Road and places like that, you know, but we certainly look forward to going there.
Yeah, that's for next season. Thanks very much for your company. Tremendous. Well done, guys. And we've got one more game to go, haven't we, in the playoff sequence. It is Preston against West Ham United. Hard to beat the drama of today, but I'm sure they'll try. Sky Sports 1 tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Join us then. Well, Sheffield Wednesday are back in the Championship. There's a long way to go yet, but this is the first piece of good news they've had for many years. From all of us, bye for now.